This page is the front cover of SEGA Saturn magazine from October 1995. The main theme is simulation games, with a feature on city building and a spotlight on SimCity 2000 for the SEGA Saturn. It promises an in-depth look at SimCity 2000, as well as coverage of the tower and theme park simulation games. The cover also highlights other game news and features, including Street Fighter Alpha 2, X-Men, Dragon Force, Super Real Mahjong Graffiti, a game called Marriage, and Virtua Racing and Virtua Fighter 2. Additionally, it teases guides for games like Guardian Heroes, World Advanced Great Strategy, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, Quo Vadis, Homa Hunter Lime, Metal Fighter Miku, Nobunaga's Ambition Tenkaisusei, Feta, and Blue Chicago Blues. There are also mentions of new software, including Street Fighter, the movie, Neketsu Oyako, Graduation 2, Neo Generation, and Magic Knight Rayearth. Finally, it notes special articles about Saturn peripherals, the latest Virtua Fighter 2 screenshots, and includes a double-sided poster featuring Virtua Fighter 2 and Hosama Hunter Lime. This page showcases two role-playing games. On the left is Riglord Saga, described as a hyper-reality RPG that utilizes a 4-step viewpoint change and 360-degree view system, promising visual shock and immersive 3D battles. The text highlights its seamless integration of polygons with hand-drawn maps and fields. On the right side is Shining Wisdom, billed as a Shining Series action RPG. It emphasizes the realistic reactions of CG-rendered characters and the direct connection between the player and the game, noting the absence of MP gauges for magic and a 5-step speed control for characters. The ad suggests it's a polished action RPG that leverages the Saturn's power. Both games are advertised at the price of 5,800 yen and are currently well received and on sale. This page promotes Magic Knight Rayearth for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting it as a TV series staff-created original anime and story. It emphasizes its easy-to-understand and enjoyable gameplay system that caters to Saturn fans. The description points out the beautiful graphics, cute female characters, and action-packed, refreshing gameplay. The advertisement also mentions the game's charming features. Screenshots showcase in-game scenes and battles, and there's a SEGA Saturn console pictured, reinforcing that it is a Saturn title. The game is priced at 4,800 yen and described as currently well-received and on sale. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn STV board, which is presented as a way to bring the true arcade experience to your home console. It emphasizes that the excitement of arcade games can be enjoyed on the SEGA Saturn thanks to STV, highlighting the ability to bring the arcade experience home and continue playing at home what you mastered in the arcade. It claims that experiencing the raw feeling of the arcade on your SEGA Saturn is only possible with Sega's STV. Below this, there is an advertisement for the game, Baku Baku Animal World Animal Championship. The text says, if you miss this game, you'll be left behind, and that STV games are continuously appearing. It describes Baku Baku Animal as a puzzle game where you play with friends or alone, experiencing a different kind of fun. It mentions gameplay elements like dropping Isaburo blocks and feeding them to animal characters to attack. It highlights various play modes including 1P versus CPU, 1P vs 2P, and Ranmaru mode, noting there are 3 types of play modes to enjoy solo play and multiplayer. It's described as a refreshing and exciting puzzle game. The advertisement includes screenshots of the game and mentions it's a puzzle game and is priced as undetermined with a planned release in November. This page promotes 2 exciting fighting games for the SEGA Saturn, clearly aiming for that authentic arcade feel. First up is Golden Axe: The Duel, a one-on-one fighting game set in the Golden Axe universe, reminiscent of the dramatic style of Golden Axe: Revenge of Death Adder. It features 10 mighty warriors battling for the legendary Golden Axe itself. This SEGA Saturn version is packed with exclusive features not found in arcades, like a CD-quality soundtrack and action that goes beyond typical fighting game limits, bringing the thrill of the arcade and even enhancing it for home play. It's set to release on September 29th for 5,800 yen. Below that, there's another impressive-looking fighting game, seemingly inspired by Chinese martial arts, and possibly the Water Margin stories. This game also promises to bring the complete arcade experience home to the Saturn, with added console-only features such as a weapon durability system. They even highlight a powerful, explosive meatball punch move.
This title is also priced at 5,800 yen and is already receiving positive reviews. Both of these games are highlighted with the STV logo, emphasizing their arcade-quality experience on the Sega Saturn. The page includes screenshots and showcases the Sega Saturn console and accessories, pushing the message of bringing the arcade home. This page is dedicated to SimCity 2000 for the Sega Saturn, boasting itself as the ultimate city simulator. It's being advertised as a grade-up version, meaning a significant upgrade over previous city-building games. This Saturn version aims to bring a more sophisticated urban development simulation to your home console. The ad emphasizes the game's evolution into 3D urban graphics, which are cutting-edge for the time, and that you can experience realistic city planning and the growth of future cities. It highlights new features that will satisfy even hardcore sim fans, promising 100% satisfaction and even suggesting it's closer to being a real mayor than a mayor in reality. SimCity 2000 for Sega Saturn is slated for release on September 29th and will cost 5,800 yen. The advert uses impressive city visuals with futuristic elements like a UFO and monorail to really sell the idea of building your dream metropolis on the Saturn. This page highlights two exciting Sega Saturn games. First up is World Advanced Daisen Ryaku, Kotetsu no Senpu, which translates to World Advanced Great Strategy, Iron Storm. This is a historical simulation game set during World War II. It's advertised as a history simulation, where you take command of countries like Japan, Germany, the US, or the UK, aiming for victory on land, sea, and air. The game boasts advanced 32-bit CPU performance for complex strategic gameplay, with 3D polygon graphics for realistic visuals. It's set for release on September 22nd and priced at 7,800 yen. The second game is Wing Arms, a shooting game described as a magnificent winged king. It's coming out on September 29th for 5,800 yen and is compatible with mission sticks, suggesting a focus on flight simulation elements. The ad emphasizes realistic graphics and aerial combat, positioning you as a skilled pilot in the Avalon Air Force, fighting in a chaotic world war. It looks like you'll be battling enemies across the skies.
The page also features an advertisement for the Sega Saturn Mission Stick. This add-on controller is highlighted as enhancing the gaming experience, especially for games like Wing Arms. It boasts precise controls and 3 analog axes and can be positioned on the left or right side. The Mission Stick is priced at 7,800 yen. The page emphasizes that having this stick will make gaming even more fun, suggesting it's a worthwhile investment for Saturn owners. The next page showcases the action game Comic Zone. The text describes the game's premise, where a comic artist named Turner gets sucked into his own comic book world, Comic Zone, created by his evil mutant character, Mortis. Now, Turner has to fight his way out of this comic book world. The page highlights the game's unique American comic book style, with panels and characters that come to life on screen. It mentions the game employs a unique system where players navigate through comic panels. The advertisement emphasizes the dynamic action and stylish presentation of this new type of action game. The game is a Mega Drive title and will retail for 7,800 yen as an action game. The page also features screenshots of the gameplay, showing the comic book panel style and action. This page showcases a few titles including Fahrenheit, which looks like an intense action-adventure game for the Mega CD. It boasts real photo integration and interactive adventure gameplay, where you're saving lives from burning buildings. The advert also shows some fiery screenshots. Next up is Juwu, an action game for the Mega Drive, slated for release in September. It's described as simple and clear, promising to keep players hooked with its squishy feeling. Whatever that may be, we get a screenshot of some top-down action gameplay. Then there's Pro Striker Final Stage, a sports game for the Mega Drive, costing 7,800 yen. It seems to be a football or soccer game with customizable formations and the ability to become a specific player. At the bottom, there's an ad pushing the Mega Drive upgrades. The Super 32X add-on, priced at 16,800 yen, and the Mega CD2 for 29,800 yen, highlighting how these upgrades expand the Mega Drive into a 16-bit, becoming 32-bit powerhouse. This page is dedicated to Magic Knight Rayearth for the Sega Saturn, a role-playing game where the story kicks off when the Magic Knights are summoned to the world of Shafiro. The page highlights the beautiful graphics, saying they are so stunning they seem to jump right out at you. It mentions that this Saturn version is based on the TV anime series and has original anime scenes and story segments.
They also talk about how during gameplay, the characters are depicted in a cute and detailed way, appealing to both Saturn fans and Ray Earth fans. The game was already on sale at the time for 4,800 yen. We also get a glimpse of in-game screenshots showing off some action and dialogue scenes. Below, there is artwork of the main characters and supporting cast. This page showcases Honshogi plus Pro Kishin no Meikyoku 10,000 Kyoku Shuroku, a shogi or Japanese chess game for the Sega Saturn, subtitled Shogi Festival. It boasts a massive collection of 10,000 famous shogi game records, perfect for study and appreciation of professional techniques. The game isn't just about watching though. It also includes 400 shogi riddles to challenge players, a computer shogi opponent with adjustable difficulty, and 2 50 next move puzzles to hone your strategic thinking. For those new to shogi, there's an introduction mode to learn the rules and piece movements, and even a trajectory mode to visualize piece movements. There are also shogi quizzes with around 200 questions to test your knowledge. For competitive players, a tournament mode is included. Interestingly, they also mention a prize question feature, where correct answers could win shogi goods. A notable highlight is the Shogi Masters Gallery, profiling around 170 professional and amateur shogi players. As a bonus, they are giving away shogi boards signed by the legendary Hanyu Yoshiharu, a 6-crown shogi champion. The game was released on September 15th, Heisei 7, priced at 9,200 yen. Overall, this page is promoting a comprehensive shogi experience on the Sega Saturn, packed with content for both beginners and seasoned players. This page is all about the high-energy action of the Twin Bee series with a heart full-throttle theme. It's advertising a deluxe pack for the Sega Saturn that bundles together 2 recent titles in the series, Fantastic Twin Bee and Twin Bee Yahoo. It's a celebratory package as it's the 10th anniversary of Twin Bee, and this deluxe pack seems to be how Konami is marking the occasion. The page is packed with screenshots of classic Twin Bee shooting action, showing the colorful and frantic gameplay fans love. It also mentions that this release is full of Doki Doki excitement, which is Twin Bee's signature style. Interestingly, it also mentions Tokimeki Memorial, Forever With You, suggesting it's somehow connected, maybe as part of a Get the Soft campaign or a cross-promotion. It mentions Tokimeki Memorial is also available for Sega Saturn, and notes its popularity. The Twin Bee Deluxe Pack is slated for release on September 29th and will retail for 5,800 yen. It seems like a great deal for fans wanting to experience the latest Twin Bee craziness on their Sega Saturn. This page shouts out that Sega Saturn games are still exciting, highlighting 2 titles from Konami. The main focus is on Ise Meijin, a serious shogi, Japanese chess game. It emphasizes strategic thinking and head-to-head battles, suggesting it's designed for both newcomers and experienced players to enjoy authentic shogi gameplay on the Saturn. It's set to release on September 29th and will cost 5,300 yen. The page also mentions a scratch card campaign where you can win Konami Sega Saturn games. You can get different prizes, a free Konami Saturn game if you get 1 gold scratch card or 2 silver scratch cards. 2 bronze scratch cards allow you to apply for Konami Sega Saturn goods. On the right side, there's an advert for Jikyu Powerful Pro Yakyu 95 Opening Edition, which we know internationally as Power Pros Baseball. It boasts about the strategic depth of the game, highlighting its unique batting system and the dramatic, realistic baseball experience it offers. Power Pros 95 for Saturn is already out and selling well, priced at 5,800 yen. Both games are from Konami, keeping in line with the Twin Bee Deluxe Pack we saw on the previous page, so Konami seems to be pushing hard on the Saturn. This page is bursting with energy and excitement for the Sega Saturn. It's all about celebrating the console and the fun you can have with it. The page is really vibrant and colorful, packed with cartoonish characters that look like they're from various Sega Saturn games. The big Japanese text in the middle seems to be a catchy slogan, emphasizing the passion and dominance of the Saturn. Up top, there's a speech bubble promoting a campaign where you can win a free Saturn. It looks like a general celebration of the Sega Saturn and its gaming world, rather than focusing on specific game releases, just pure Sega Saturn hype. This page is dedicated to the fantastic puzzle game, Puyo Puyo 2, also known as Puyo 2. It's an exciting announcement for something new, Puyo Puyo related, possibly a special edition CD or game release, highlighting game, video, and song content. They're hyping it up with phrases like, version up with even more rings, and live excitement. It also mentions the reproduction of the live scene from the first Masters tournament,
which sounds cool for Puyo Puyo fans.
Apparently there's also some passionate singing involved, and a message plus a song from Katsumi Tanaka. They're even teasing a 98 version. And this particular release is slated for October with a price of 4,800 yen. It's published by Compile, and there's a logo for Act Against AIDS, suggesting a charitable time. Overall, it's a very energetic and colorful page promoting all things Puyo Puyo 2. This page introduces Fantastic Pinball, a new pinball game for both Sega Saturn and PlayStation. It's advertised as a superb pinball game birth, and is already on sale for 5,800 yen plus tax for both consoles. The advert highlights several key features.
It boasts nearly 100 play features, emphasizing the thrilling and varied gameplay. They also mention a new system focused on character appeal to diversify the game's progression. Furthermore, high-quality sound and fantastic visuals are touted as bringing a grand spectacle to the game. The page also announces a high-score campaign where the top 30 players each month can win prizes, encouraging players to check the instruction manual for details. Visually, the page showcases screenshots of the pinball gameplay and features several anime-style characters, suggesting a fantasy theme. This page is dedicated to the action-packed beat-em-up game, Rage Fortress Child, by Technosoft, available on both Sega Saturn and PlayStation. The advertisement highlights several key features, such as 15 diverse stages within 5 worlds, all filled with clever traps to overcome. It promises unique storylines and dramatic moments tailored to each character, enhanced by impactful visuals and a fitting soundtrack. We get to see the main characters, including a determined young woman wielding a pipe, a stern mustached man, and a confident man with a red cap. Screenshots showcase the intense gameplay in various environments, like railway tracks and city streets. Rage Fortress Child is currently available for purchase at 5,800 yen plus tax for the Sega Saturn version and 6,950 yen plus tax for the PlayStation version. This page showcases a striking advert for the game, JB Herald Blue, Chicago Blues. The Japanese text at the top highlights one incident that shakes Sega Saturn, suggesting a dramatic and impactful gaming experience. The central image is a very close-up eye, reflecting a scene with a person and what looks like a knife, hinting at a crime or mystery theme. The game title is prominently displayed in both English and Japanese. It appears to be a detective or adventure game, given the JB Herald title, which is associated with a series of mystery games, and the Blues subtitle adding to the atmosphere. The bottom section includes copyright information for 1994 and 1995 by Riverhill Soft Inc., along with contact details for the company and information regarding customer support and software inquiries, including phone and fax numbers and operating hours. Overall, the page is a visually arresting advertisement using a dramatic image and tagline to promote Blue Chicago Blues for the Sega Saturn, emphasizing its mystery and suspense elements. This page is a continuation of the advert for JB Herald Blue Chicago Blues. The large text at the top emphasizes the thrilling nature of the game, suggesting it's designed to be a truly shocking experience on the Sega Saturn. The advert describes it as a full-fledged mystery adventure game that pushes the Sega Saturn's hardware to its limits, with high-quality visuals and sound. You play as a detective investigating serial murders in Chicago, and as you delve deeper into the investigation, the mystery intensifies. The gameplay revolves around piecing together a complex jigsaw puzzle of evidence and circumstances within a limited time frame to uncover the real culprit. The advert highlights some key features, including extensive location shooting in Chicago and Hollywood, resulting in over 100 minutes of live-action movie footage. It boasts a cast of 29 real Hollywood actors and 17 distinct investigation locations. The visuals are described as high quality, specifically filmed for the game and digitally processed. Furthermore, it features movie-level voice acting with Japanese dubbed narration. There's also a special news section mentioning pamphlets and guidebooks for Blue Chicago Blues available at stores, providing more details about the game. Finally, it clearly states that Blue Chicago Blues is exclusive to the Sega Saturn and was released on Friday, September 22nd as a 2 Candelas room set priced at 7,800 yen, excluding tax.
The screenshots on the page showcase in-game menus and a map interface, giving a glimpse of the game's detective gameplay.
This page showcases the Sega Saturn game Sensei to Asobu, a racing simulation game. The bold text proclaims, "Make trouble for the teacher," highlighting the game's premise where you take on the role of a new teacher, tasked with managing 5 problem students in Class 3B. Your goal is to guide these students through their remaining school year and ensure they graduate smoothly. It's advertised as the definitive version of a simulation game with various hidden stories, now enhanced for the Sega Saturn. The page mentions it's a racing simulation game that's currently on sale for 6,800 yen, excluding tax, and is exclusively for the Sega Saturn. We see illustrations of the 5 female students who are the focus of the game, hinting at the character interaction and simulation aspects. The text box further emphasizes the challenge of guiding these problem children to graduation. Graduation 2. Neo Generation. On the Sega Saturn launched a special campaign offering a chance to win a special illustrated portrait. From August 11th to November 10th, 1995, 100 winners were drawn weekly, totaling 1,300 prizes. To enter, players had to complete the Saturn version's questionnaire, attach a 50 yen stamp, and mail it in. The ad highlights the Saturn version's unique school events and content, with characters expressing excitement about the game's faithful recreation of the teacher experience, detailed direction, and smooth gameplay. Screenshots showcase beautiful visuals, character expressions, and user-friendly gameplay. The ad also mentions an upcoming PlayStation release on October 27th. This page showcases a Capcom game, which appears to be X-Men related. The large vertical red text on the left side reads, "X-Power Explosion!" The screenshot in the top right clearly features Wolverine in an arcade game setting, with Level 1 and Wolverine text visible in the game's UI. It seems to be an advertisement, highlighting the explosive action and power of the X-Men game. There is a circular section with text below it that mentions T-X-Men TVCM songs and Tomonaga Yasushi as a composer, perhaps indicating that there are songs from TV commercials for X-Men games included in some way, and mentioning a 10th anniversary album. The bottom of the page has Capcom's company information and address. Overall, this page is an advertisement for a Capcom X-Men game, emphasizing its powerful action and potentially associated music. This page is dedicated to the Sega Saturn release of Capcom's X-Men: Children of the Atom. The page highlights key gameplay aspects with screenshots and descriptions. It mentions vertical and horizontal scrolling, showcasing Wolverine in action with super jumps and scrolling levels. Another section emphasizes simple special moves, depicting Colossus performing a special attack, stating that anyone can easily unleash powerful techniques with simple commands. The X-Power Explosion section features Juggernaut, focusing on the devastating X-Power moves and max hit combos achievable with continuous techniques. Finally, the advert announces the Sega Saturn version as a versus fighting game, with a release date of September 29th and a price of 5,800 yen. It also includes Capcom's contact information at the bottom. This page showcases the Sega Saturn game King of Boxing. It's advertised as a revolutionary polygon-based boxing game where you can become a legendary boxer. The page highlights several key features, including a main mode with over 30 world-ranked boxers to challenge and a 2-player versus mode. There's also a debut mode where you can create your own custom boxer, modifying everything from their appearance to fighting style, and watch them improve with each fight. Gameplay features include replay functionality for each round, allowing you to relive those knockout moments from various angles. The game also emphasizes realistic sound design, capturing the impact of punches, footwork, and the atmosphere of the boxing ring. At the bottom of the page, there's a mention of America Udon Ultra Quiz, featuring the Statue of Liberty, suggesting another game or feature related to an American quiz show. Metal Fighter Miku, a visual simulation battle game for Sega Saturn, is set in the near future and features beautiful girl pro wrestlers in a Neo-Pro Wrestling tournament run by Lion's Den. The game focuses on the Japanese women's tournament and centers around the unified champion, Miku, with a mysterious reason for her participation. The game, boasting a 6-chapter story, will release on September 29th for 6,800 yen. The page also advertises a popular radio drama for Metal Fighter Miku, which will be released on CD. Additionally, A smaller advertisement promotes Mina de New York e Ikuka, a quiz game based on a long-running Japanese TV quiz show. It includes various quiz formats, over 10,000 questions with voice acting, and training modes. This quiz game is slated for a late October release, costing 5,800 yen. This page advertises Masters, Distant Augusta 3 for the Sega Saturn, which is likely known internationally as Augusta Masters, or similar golf game titles. The advert highlights the Saturn version boasts significantly improved graphics, with double the polygons compared to previous iterations, enhancing the visual beauty considerably. The game promises more detailed and realistic environments, including water surfaces, trees, and cloudscapes. It emphasizes the realistic portrayal of near-view perspectives, capturing the atmosphere of each hole and the course details. The game introduces a new Masters Records Challenge mode, inviting players to try and break historical records. This new Saturn version of Masters is touted as a further step towards golfing glory, and is scheduled for release on September 22nd, priced at 5,800 yen. The game is developed by T&E Soft, and published by Sega Enterprises. This page is an advert for Gotha 2, Knights of the Sky for the Sega Saturn, which is the sequel to the original Gotha game. The ad highlights enhanced graphics and a grand story. It emphasizes new systems within the game, such as a free map system for movement, new weapon systems for units allowing customization and strategic depth, and a combat system that uses deformable terrain. The game also features an action experience value system, which impacts character growth, and a complete multi-scenario, multi-ending structure, where the ending changes based on player choices. It's slated for a December release, with the price to be determined. The advert showcases the game's graphical style, with futuristic aircraft in a dramatic sky scene. This page highlights two games. First up is PTO 2, Pacific Theater of Operations 2, a World War II strategy game. It's being advertised as a Super Strategy War SLG, coming to the Saturn. The advert emphasizes new features exclusive to the Saturn, boasting enhanced graphics and visuals compared to the PC version, including newly created computer graphics and recorded video footage. It also mentions famous voice actors for narration and a power-up of the PC version's data. The game aims for a more realistic game world, thanks to the Saturn's hardware capabilities, and it's touted to be released this fall, though the exact date and price are still undecided. The bottom half of the page promotes Winning Post X, a horse racing simulation game. It's described as a masterpiece of the genre finally arriving on the Saturn, featuring realistic photography and updated data from 1995. The advert praises Winning Post as the peak of horse racing SLGS and positions X as an even more excellent version. It's currently on sale and well received at a price of 6,800 yen. Finally, at the bottom, there is some small print detailing mail order information and a phone number for inquiries, mentioning credit card payment options and purchase conditions. The next page highlights a couple of strategy titles and a rather unique English learning software. First up, we have Nobunaga's Ambition, Tenshuki, the newest installment in the highly acclaimed historical strategy series, making its debut. It's touted as featuring brand new systems like vassal education and army corps management, all while boasting significantly enhanced graphics specifically for the Saturn. It's set to launch on September 29th, priced at 9,800 yen. The screenshots displayed aim to showcase the improved visual fidelity and a more realistic gaming experience. Moving down, we see Emit, promoted as a much-discussed English learning software developed by a top-tier team. This software comes in 3 volumes, with titles like Time Lost Child, Life-Risking Journey, and Say Goodbye to Me, categorized as English education adventures. The creators listed include Jiro Akagawa, Katsuaki Togo, Mutsumi Inomata, and Tetsuya Komuro. It's designed for the Sega Saturn, and interestingly, also mentions Super 32X compatibility. Lastly, Romance of the Three Kingdoms I-5 is showcased as a definitive masterpiece of historical strategy games. This advert specifically mentions the Super 32X version and indicates it's currently on sale for 14,800 yen. It appears both the standard and Super 32X versions are available at the same price point. This page is all about the upcoming Sega Saturn release of FIDA Remake, a simulation RPG and an upgrade to the original FIDA Emblem of Justice.
This remake is bringing the game to 32-bit machines and boasts significant enhancements. The original FIDA from 1994 had a large world and deep story which was very popular, and this remake aims to keep that core experience intact while improving on it. The advert highlights several key features, including full animation, movie-like opening and ending sequences, and dramatic animations during important events. It also mentions voice acting by a number of performers, including Nobutoshi Hayashi, Miki Narahashi, Hikaru Midorikawa, Yuko Minaguchi, and others. The graphics have been completely remade for the Saturn, and the battles are said to be faster and smoother. There are also brand new characters and powerful special moves being added. In addition to the game, there's a mention of related radio programs, Mami no Reidi, and TV game radions, providing communication and information about FIDA Remake, with specific broadcast times listed for different radio stations. The game is slated for release in autumn 1995, but the price is still to be decided. This page is an advertisement for the upcoming racing game Touge King, The Spirits, for SEGA Saturn. It's highlighted as the industry's first full polygon 3D racing game set on real roads.
The tagline is, "If you are afraid of crashing, you cannot attack the corners."
The ad showcases in-game screenshots and mentions features like engine, tire, and suspension customization, implying deep car tuning options. It boasts multiple game modes, including 1P mode, 2P versus mode, and a time trial mode. It's also compatible with the SEGA Saturn racing controller. Interestingly, the advert also mentions that this game is derived from the arcade hit-scrolling shooting game Gunbird. Both SEGA Saturn and PlayStation versions are announced with release dates in October and November respectively, and a price of 5,800 yen for each. This page is an advertisement for Princess Maker 2 on SEGA Saturn. It highlights the game as the pinnacle of racing simulation games, boasting improved graphics and over 100 characters. It is described as a deeply immersive experience where you raise a daughter. The advert promotes it as a Credrom software release for SEGA Saturn, scheduled for October 95. The standard price is listed as 7,800 yen. It also mentions a premium gift, included with the first press editions. The page features screenshots from the game, showcasing the gameplay interface, and a scene with the daughter character. It credits Akei Takami for the original concept and illustrations, and lists voice actors, including Kumiko Watanabe and Akiko Tanaka, among others, suggesting a fully voiced game. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game, The Psychotron, a mystery adventure titled. It's hyped as a national emergency announcement, where you need to seize back the Psychotron. Scheduled for release in October and priced at 5,800 yen, the game tasks you with pursuing the mystery surrounding Russia's latest secret weapon, the Psychotron. The page features screenshots showing in-game interfaces and gameplay. It highlights that you play as a CIA agent, tasked with investigating Russia's secret weapon. The game promises a thrilling adventure with espionage and mystery elements, featuring pursuit scenes. Interestingly, the advertisement also points out that Hamakoshi, a famous voice actor, is involved, along with other well-known voice talent, indicating fully voiced Japanese dialogue. In short, it's presented as a suspenseful spy thriller with strong voice acting. This page is an advert for Tenchi Muyo, Gokuraku Kusudrome, on SEGA Saturn. It's based on the popular anime series and promises a complete port of the PEC version, enhanced with extra content. The game boasts over 100 quiz questions, beautiful CG graphics, and full voice acting by a cast of 7 voice actors. There's a buy and send campaign, where purchasing the game and sending in the included questionnaire card gives you a chance to win original Tenchi Muyo goods like posters, pens, postcards, and even telephone cards. They're giving away prizes to the first 1,000 people. The advert also mentions they are recruiting development staff, including programmers, graphic artists, and sound engineers with at least 2 years of industry experience, and gives details on trial periods and salary. Finally, it promotes the Umedia newsletter, featuring news about the Kukuru Fushigi Kyudai, and a subscription offer. This page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Academy, a school focused on training multimedia creators. They are boasting a very high employment rate for their graduates, with figures like 80.39% for CG animation and game students, and an impressive 97.74% overall. The ad features Takashi Tada, described as a special guest professor who talks about the importance of being yourself and finding your own unique style. The school seems to emphasize personal growth and nurturing individual talents to help students succeed in creative fields. They offer a wide range of courses, all lasting either 1 or 2 years, in areas like CG animation and game development, multimedia creation, SFX and special effects,
manga and comic art, illustration, anime production, background art, audiovisual operation, voice acting, animation, visual illustration, and junior novel writing. The page promotes free introductory classes, school information sessions being held across various locations, including Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, and Sendai, and a free audition for aspiring voice actors and talent. They also mention Home Doctor 24, possibly a student support service, and student accommodation options. There are schedules listed for free information sessions and trial classes happening in different cities. This page is an advertisement for Gamers Paradise 95 Fall CSG TV Game Software New Product Presentation, a game event where you can see upcoming games. It boasts exceeding expectations and promises exciting new game reveals. It's free to enter and features cute egg-shaped characters as mascots. The event is being held in 3 locations during September 1995. Nagoya on September 3rd at the Nagoya International Conference Center, Osaka on September 10th at Maidome Osaka, and Tokyo on September 17th at Ikebukuro Sunshine City Culture Hall.
All events run from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Maps are provided for each location to help attendees find their way. A large number of game publishers are exhibiting, including companies like Konami, Capcom, Sunsoft, Jaleco, Sega Enterprises, Taito, Hudson, Namco, and many more. Attendees can participate in a questionnaire for a chance to win game hardware and software. The event seems to cover a wide range of consoles, as logos for systems like PC Engine, Game Boy, Virtual Boy, PCFX, Neo Geo, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Mega CD, 3DO, Sega Saturn, and PlayStation are shown. It looks like a great opportunity to check out what's new in the gaming world. SoftBank is releasing 2 new Memorial Drama CD and fanbook sets. The first is for Phantasy Star, featuring a fanbook dedicated to the Sega RPG series. It includes an original drama CD based on Phantasy Star: The End of the Millennium, with original scenarios and voice actor interviews. Kikuko Inoue, Aya Hisakawa, Kazuhiko Inoue, Daisuke Sakaguchi. It costs 3,900 yen. Also available is a Phantasy Star official setting document collection with unreleased materials, glossaries, interviews, and more, including a B3 poster by Satoshi Urushihara for 1,500 yen. The second release is for Langrisser 2, which is already available. This set explores the series' history, focusing on the conflict between Elwyn and Leon. It features character designs by Satoshi Urushihara, special interviews, and making-of content. Yumi Tuma, Hikaru Midorikawa, and Takehito Koyasu. It costs 3,800 yen. This page showcases a cool-looking poster from Sega AM2, the legendary developers behind games like Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA, and it's a special free gift for readers in this commemorative issue of the magazine. The poster is advertising Virtua Cop. You can see the versus cbay.pd. Police car in the background, and the 3 main characters are looking really tough and ready for action, armed with their handguns. It's definitely a must-have for any Sega fan, and highlights a brand new illustration for a special extra-large poster pull-out in this issue. This page announces the launch of a new magazine called Arcade Game Magazine, set to release on Saturday, September 30th. It's promising to be packed with information for arcade game fans, starting with a Sega new Title Rush feature, which includes Cyber Troopers Virtual On, Manx TT, and an exclusive interview with Yu Suzuki from Sega AM2 about Virtua Fighter 3. The magazine will also have a complete report from the JAMA show, showcasing the latest games from big names like Sega, Capcom, and SNK. They're dedicating space to Virtua Fighter 2.1 and also highlighting a bunch of other popular arcade games including Tekken 2, The King of Fighters 95, Virtua Cop 2, Marvel Superheroes, Street Fighter Alpha, Dragon Might, and Goketsuji Gaiden, and it mentions Battle Arena Toshinden's arcade debut alongside Tekken 2. The new Game Scramble section is set to cover new releases like Polestar, Metal Slug, and Virtua Cop 2. Plus, they're planning special features like a guide for beginners wanting to buy arcade PCBS, and even a cosplay project promising a lot of fun content for arcade enthusiasts. This page is an advert for The PlayStation Books, a series of perfect guides for PlayStation games. There are several game guides being promoted, all priced at 880 yen. First up is the Zero Divide Perfect Guide for the robot fighting game Zero Divide. This guide promises complete coverage, including strategies for all 8-player characters, CPU opponents, hidden characters like Neko, and the Tiny Franks character. It's aimed at both beginners and advanced players to help them fully enjoy Zero Divide. Next is the J-League Soccer Prime Goal X Perfect Guide for the soccer game. J-League Soccer Prime Goal X. This guide covers all aspects of the game, including all 7 modes, basic techniques, all team player data, formations, and advanced techniques to help players win in their favorite clubs. Below these are 4 more guides, all simply titled Perfect Guide, Ace Combat, promising to make you an ultimate ace pilot, Arc the Lad, promising 100% enjoyment of Arc the Lad, Battle Arena to Shinden Ura, featuring fighting game writer for complete strategies, and lastly, Classmates, aiming to double the fun of the dating sim Classmates. Lastly, there is a guide for Rurouni Kenshin Meiji Kenkaku Romantan, Ishingeki Tohen, promising to increase the enjoyment of the Kenshin game. This page advertises Super Guide series books for Super Famicom games. First up is the J.League Soccer Prime Goal 3 Super Guide. This guide covers everything you need to know to master J.League Soccer Prime Goal 3, the 3rd game in the popular soccer series. It includes basic techniques, advanced strategies using through passes, goal-scoring tactics, player data, and formations for all 14 J.League clubs, and even mini-game strategies. Next, there's the Yoshi's Island Super Guide. This one's for Yoshi's Island, covering all the basics of Yoshi's controls, course tips, power-up items, and enemy information. It promises detailed maps for all 6 worlds and 48 courses, plus strategies for special stages and mini-games to help you enjoy 120% of Yoshi's Island. It's scheduled for release in late September. Finally, there's the 4th Super Robot Wars Super Guide for Super Robot Wars 4. This guide is for fans of giant robot anime like Gundam, Getter Robo, and Mazinger Z, and covers the latest installment in the Super Robot Wars series. It's a complete strategy guide for the game, boasting a massive 69 map strategies, data on all 272 units and 223 characters appearing in the game, robot settings, series history, and background information. It's already on sale and available now. All guides are a 5 size and priced at 880 yen. This page is dedicated to Steam Gear MASH for the SEGA Saturn, billing it as a vertical and horizontal unrestrained shushu popo action game. It's touted as a multi-genre action title, mixing quarter-view action gameplay with elements of scrolling shooting. You can see from the screenshots various actions you can perform in the game, like bombing enemies, firing shots, swimming while shooting in 5 directions, flying, engaging in boss battles, performing rotating attacks, and even escaping enemy attacks. The text bubbles around the screenshots emphasize different action moves you can use. The main text introduces the game's story, focusing on MASH, a mechanical life form living in SteamWorld, created by the brilliant drive Chikashige Kameyama. The story revolves around MASH's heroic adventure to rescue the beloved Mina-chan from the evil clutches of Emperor Gash and his army who are trying to take over SteamWorld. The page emphasizes that this is a game action fans will not want to miss. The game was scheduled for release at the end of September for 5,800 yen. This magazine issue focuses on the SEGA Saturn. Page 49 highlights games like Virtua Fighter 2 and Sega Rally Championship. Page 77 previews upcoming titles, such as Victory Goal and Legend of Oasis. Simulation games, particularly city builders like SimCity 2000, are featured on page 105. Coming Soon Soft on page 111 previews numerous upcoming games including Guardian Heroes and Layer Section. Darius Gaiden. Page 151 provides strategies for released games like Street Fighter, Real Battle on Film. Page 163 introduces a series about the development of Virtua Fighter 3, including an interview with Yu Suzuki. Finally, page 88 covers Saturn peripherals like the analog mission stick. Regular magazine sections are also included. SEGA is making waves at an amusement machine show with a huge display of arcade games. emphasizing VR experiences and racing titles like SEGA Rally Championship and Daytona USA. Simultaneously, a consumer soft group presentation unveiled upcoming Saturn games from Sega and Gramis, focusing on party titles, with free events in Osaka and Tokyo. Elsewhere, the True Jewel Hunting Lime Festival in Tokyo, directed by Soichiro Nakamura, celebrated the Lime of TV drama, with talk shows and quizzes featuring voice actors Yukiko Tamagawa and Mika Kanai.
In business news, Sierra Online and Pioneer Soft formed Sierra Pioneer in Japan, aiming to bring PC software to the Saturn and other 32-bit consoles. Finally, Yamaha launched SEER, computer music courses ranging from beginner to advanced levels, incorporating the Saturn's sound capabilities and personalized instruction. This review section covers a diverse selection of music releases. Yuki Uchida's Mikimine offers a blend of styles, including a Only You remix and ballads. Gontidi's Black Ant's Life provides relaxing guitar-based music. Megumi Okina's Blossom is an image album, with the reviewer enjoying its girlish charm. 200 by Let It Go is a ballad. For game music fans, Dram remixes Panzer Dragoon tracks. And Lunatic Parade Volume 2 is a drama CD for Lunar Eternal Blue, !Sep. Featuring is a radio drama CD for Motto Tokimeki Memorial. While World Heroes Perfect, SNKADK, is the soundtrack for the game World Heroes Perfect, known for its quirky, intense style. This SEGA Saturn Magazine data station highlights game sales and arcade popularity. The top 10 Saturn software sales chart is led by the new entry, Rig Lord Saga, a 3D RPG. Virtua Fighter Remix is second, praised for its value, while D no Shokutaku, D's Dinner Table, is third, an adventure game with a cinematic feel. Other top sellers include Digital Pinball, Last Gladiators, Yumemiru Kutsuri Mix Remix, Clockwork Knight, 2 baseball games, Daytona USA, and Super Real Mahjong PV. The Show Up Arcade Video Games Top 5 features Virtua Fighter 2 at number 1, followed by Street Fighter Zero, Virtua Striker, Tekken 2, and Sega Rally Championship. The page also previews the upcoming JAMA show, mentioning Sega's new lineup, including Den-O Senki Virtualon, Cyber Troopers Virtualon, and Sega Manx TT. This page is split into 2 main sections, looking at what Saturn gamers are wanting and looking forward to. The first part is the Want to SEGAturn Convert Top 20 chart, which is a list of arcade games that players are hoping to see ported to the Sega Saturn. At the top of this list is Same Series, presumably referring to the Puyo Puyo series known internationally, followed by Final Fantasy series, likely referencing Final Fantasy VI, and Virtua Striker. Interestingly, Street Fighter Zero and Konami's Snatcher are highlighted as in development for the Saturn, showing completion percentages of 10% and 5% respectively, indicating progress on these highly anticipated ports. The second part of the page is the hopeful SEGAturn New Soft Top 15 ranking, showcasing the most anticipated upcoming Sega Saturn games. Virtua Fighter 2 is at the top, praised for its new additions like victory poses and gameplay depth. And second place is Sega Rally Championship, celebrated as the ultimate racing game with various extra features. Third place is Virtua Cop, marketed as the first home console gun shooting game, emphasizing its immersive gameplay with original elements. The rest of the top 15 includes games like Vampire Savior, SimCity 2000, Puyo Puyo 2, X-Men, World Advanced War, Iron Cavalry of the Battlefield, Tentenklai Makyugai, Daion no Mokushiroku, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Tokimeki Memorial, Forever With You, Guardian Heroes, Detana Twinbee Yahoo, Deluxe Pack, Air's Adventure, and Layer Section. This page explores Sega Saturn game rankings based on reader votes, highlighting player opinions on several titles. Meiken's Dinner Table, a cinematic adventure, is praised for its CD-ROM experience, but criticized for slow pacing. After the Dream's End remix, an interactive anime adventure, is enjoyed for its style and story despite its simplicity. Rigload Saga, Road Blaster Saga, a 3D RPG, receives mixed reviews, with criticisms of slow pacing and a frustrating combat system, though some appreciate its design.
Clockwork Knight, an action game, is generally well received for its graphics and gameplay, although some found the ending and later stages underwhelming. The page also discusses the continued popularity of Virtua Fighter, hinting at the anticipation for its sequel. This page reviews SEGA Saturn games and peripherals. Power Pro 95 Kaimakubun is praised as a surprisingly strong baseball game. Heisei Tensai Bakabon Susume Bakabons is a solid puzzle game. The Odds Table Saturn peripheral devices highlights the Fighting Stick SS, Saturn Control Pad, and Shuttle Mouse as popular accessories. Coming soon, horse betting information previews upcoming titles. Shining Wisdom is an action RPG with unique battles. Magic Knight Rayearth is an RPG promising a faithful anime adaptation. The arrival of the analog stick is anticipated. A contest, SEGA Saturn Reader Race, offers prizes. The special gift is the Analog Mission Stick. Readers predict game outcomes for titles like Virtua Fighter 3 and Idol Mahjong Final Romance R, and express excitement for games like Final Romance 2 and Fighter Remix. This page showcases the latest developments for Virtua Fighter 2 on the SEGA Saturn, highlighting it as Super New Soft for SEGA Saturn. The game is stated to be 30% complete and aiming for a 1995 release. The page emphasizes graphical improvements, declaring, "Daily evolution of graphics." They point out visible health bars now included in the game, and improved graphics compared to the arcade version, stating, AM2, the developers, are working hard to bring it closer to the arcade experience. The article also reveals first public release of win-lose poses, and all 10 characters are drawn, showing screenshots of these features. Furthermore, new stages featuring Wolf and Cage are announced as unreleased stages continued. Screenshots compare the previous and current versions, showcasing refinements in graphics and character selection screens. The text mentions character selection screen improvements, highlighting changes in design and readability, moving from the arcade style towards a more refined Saturn look. The reviewer seems impressed by the progress and anticipates further improvements. This page continues to showcase the latest news for Virtua Fighter 2 on the SEGA Saturn, focusing on the newly implemented win and lose poses. The article highlights that these poses, absent in the arcade version, are being added to further distinguish each character in the Saturn edition. The winner section details that each character boasts 4 distinct victory poses, selectable during replays by pressing punch, kick, and guard buttons, including one special pose for excellent Keikos. Screenshots showcase the winner poses for Akira, Pi, Wolf, Sarah, Lion, and Jeffrey. The loser section focuses on defeat poses, visible during timeouts and ringouts, another new feature for the Saturn port. Screenshots are provided for Akira, Lau, Wolf, and Cage, demonstrating their loser stances. A developer comment from AM2 R&D Department Number 2 mentions ongoing progress in polishing the game, optimizing memory and textures to achieve high visual fidelity. They emphasize their commitment to adding fine details to each character. Throughout the page you can see screenshots of characters like Akira, Pi, Lau, Wolf, Jeffrey, Sarah, Cage, Lion, and Shundai, all demonstrating these new win and lose poses. The overall tone suggests excitement about these additions and the continued refinement of Virtua Fighter 2 for the SEGA Saturn. This page is all about the One Piece side characters finally being fully revealed for Virtua Fighter 2 on the SEGA Saturn. It spotlights Wolf Hawkfield and Kagamaru, detailing their in-game models and moves. The developers from AM2 R&D are quoted discussing the challenges of modeling both characters, especially Wolf's muscular physique and Kagamaru's head and costume. They mention they are constantly refining the character models, moving closer to the arcade version's look and feel. It's mentioned that Kagamaru's mask is still being worked on for a future reveal. There's a development status check section, highlighting improvements to character animations, specifically focusing on neck swinging and head movements, noting it adds realism. The developers are also working on other dynamic elements, like Akira's headband and Ladu's beard, to make them move naturally in the final game. Screenshots throughout the page showcase Wolf performing his giant swing and flying knee kick, and Kagemaru in various poses and attacks, emphasizing the graphical improvements and attention to detail being implemented in Virtua Fighter 2 for the Saturn. The next page is diving deeper into Virtua Fighter 2, focusing on showcasing moves for Sarah Bryant and Jeffrey McWild. It's titled Check and highlights the variety of techniques in the game. For Sarah, they're showing off moves like the turn rose spin kick, which looks like a spinning back kick ideal for closing distance, the dash knee for mid-range attacks with good reach, the neck free throw, a grapple move where she chokes her opponent, and the drop, another throw. The descriptions mention things like the turn rose spin kick having minimal openings, the dash knee being a typical Sarah mid-range attack with good reach, and the neck free throw being a practical technique even in the sequel, Virtua Fighter 2. Moving on to Jeffrey, they're detailing his Iron Claw, a grapple where he lifts and slams the opponent, the hip attack, a powerful butt bump move, and then stage interactions with lion stage and cage stage techniques. The descriptions of Jeffrey's moves emphasize his power and ring-out potential, particularly with the hip attack, and the stage moves highlight environmental interactions. Finally, there's a development status check section asking about the background completion. The developers from AM2R&D are quoted saying they're working on the backgrounds, aiming for a less technically demanding approach compared to earlier stages. They mention the Saturn version prioritizes gameplay, and some stage presentation might be simplified compared to the arcade version. They're hoping for further completion and player anticipation. This page is an interview with Koichi Okunuki from AM2R&D about the Saturn version of Virtua Fighter 2. It's titled, Last Year's One Could Do Various Things, and discusses the progress of development and new features being implemented. Okunuki mentions the team is working hard to make the Saturn version even better than the original Virtua Fighter, addressing collision detection and CPU AI as key improvements. They're highlighting 3 major additions to the Saturn version: color change, command training mode, and a new ending. The color change feature is already 30% complete and allows for character palette customization. Command training mode is at 60% and is designed to help players learn moves. The new ending is 75% done and is being created to be a proper ending sequence for the home version, separate from the arcade. Okunuki explains they are optimizing the game for the Saturn's hardware, focusing on gameplay and ensuring smooth performance even with polygon-heavy characters. He emphasizes that they are aiming for arcade quality, but adapting to the Saturn's capabilities. He also mentions they are considering adding original elements not seen in the arcade version, drawing inspiration from games like Daytona USA. The interview ends with a timeline indicating they expect to have a demo ready by August, and are aiming for completion soon after, promising more details at the AM2R&D2 event in August. This page is all about SEGA Rally Championship coming to the SEGA Saturn. It's exciting news, as this article is revealing the beginner course for the first time. They're emphasizing that even at this stage, the game is only 35% complete, which is surprising considering how good it already looks in the screenshots. The article highlights a few key features of this beginner course. Firstly, Check 1 talks about the slippery surface right after the start line, just like in the arcade. They say even experienced players might find it tricky. Check 2 is all about the 3 linked jumps, a signature part of the arcade game, faithfully reproduced here. They mention the jump angles and car physics are very close to the arcade version, which is great to hear. Finally, Check 3 focuses on the last corner, a big R-shaped bend where getting the timing right is crucial. They warn that mistiming the corner can lead to crashes, again very similar to the arcade experience. Overall, the page is showcasing the early development of SEGA Rally Championship on the Saturn, and focusing on how they are recreating the arcade experience, especially the feel of the beginner desert course. It sounds like they are aiming for a very faithful conversion, which is exactly what fans would want. This page is all about SEGA Rally Championship, announcing that the medium difficulty course is now 80% complete. It's doing a side-by-side comparison between the arcade and SEGA Saturn versions, really highlighting the graphical improvements on the Saturn. They're focusing on how the Saturn version is catching up in visual fidelity, showing things like trees and trackside details being added. They also point out minor differences such as the time and speed displays. There's an interview with 2 of the developers, Mr. Nakamura and Mr. Matsura. They're discussing how they are trying to address common complaints players had with previous racing games. Matsura talks about the challenges of adding features like rear-view mirrors because of memory limitations, but they are still trying to include them. They're also adding new features unique to the Saturn version, like time attack mode and car customization settings which weren't in the arcade game. Nakamura emphasizes that they are aiming to make the best possible home version, including these original features.
time attack, and car settings are definitely planned.
They're aiming for a December release and are confident in the game's quality. They're also planning to include gallery and replay features and aim to incorporate as many arcade elements as possible, showing the differences through comparison screenshots in future articles.
This page continues talking about SEGA Rally Championship on the Saturn, reassuring fans about the quality of the port. They're checking out the gallery mode and confirming it's getting closer to the arcade version, especially in terms of visual detail. There was some concern about cars looking stretched vertically in the Saturn version, and they're showing how they're fixing that to match the arcade's proportions, which is great news for visual accuracy. The interview with developers Nakamura and Matsuura continues, and they're really diving into the Saturn version's handling. They're making sure the controls feel good with a gamepad, and even say drifting is easier on the Saturn compared to the arcade when using a pad. They reconfirm that replay and gallery modes are in, and they're excited about the time trial mode that measures down to 1/100th of a second. Just like the arcade, they mentioned dealing with RAM limitations to get everything working well, and are still aiming for that December release. They are really pushing to make the Saturn version even better than the arcade game, which is ambitious. Finally, there's a section highlighting the accurate 1/100th second time measurement in the time trial mode. The page ends with a bold statement saying, "Further version up!" and "Users' doubt solved quickly." Definitely. The Saturn version will be like this? Ooh! Which sounds like they are confident they are addressing player concerns and making a fantastic Saturn version. The Saturn version of SEGA Rally Championship will feature a time attack mode for single or multi-lap races. The save functionality will be enhanced, separating data for automatic and manual transmissions. The developers are minimizing graphical cuts, focusing on maintaining the arcade experience. Audio is being prioritized, aiming for arcade-accurate music and sound effects, with potential for original and arranged versions. New courses might be added. The driving experience is designed to be nearly identical to the arcade, replicating handling and lap times. Development is about 35% complete, with a release planned for next month. The next issue will reveal advanced courses. This page is about the upcoming SEGA Saturn release of Puyo Puyo 2, which is subtitled Tsu. The magazine highlights it as the anticipated Saturn version of the popular puzzle game, emphasizing that it's finally coming to the console. The game is described as a faithful port of the arcade version, with the catchphrase "Wa o kakete tsu," meaning something like adding another level of tsu. The article mentions that the Saturn version is currently 60% complete and slated for release on October 27th, priced at 4,800 yen. It boasts that the Saturn version will be a super deluxe edition. New features are being added, including Manzai Demo and Tsu mode. Manzai Demo is a comedic dialogue demo, and Tsu mode is a new game mode. The article points out that the Saturn version will have full voice acting, addressing a point from the previous Puyo Puyo game, where speech bubbles were used instead. New characters are also being introduced for the Saturn version. These include Incubus, Tsukiyura, and Kotorisu, who are described as narcissistic and unique. The article mentions that these new characters will feature in the Manzai demo and have new attack patterns in gameplay. The page includes screenshots of the gameplay and character art, showing the classic Puyo Puyo action and the new characters. The reviewer seems excited about the additions and the prospect of discovering more about these new characters. This page is all about Dark Savior, hyped as a three-dimensional scenario RPG, and the first entry in the Climax series. It's being called a time-limit Deathwatch drama, which sounds pretty intense. The game is still early in development, only 30% complete, but it's slated for release in December, although the price is still to be decided. It's labeled as an action RPG. The article highlights that Dark Savior has been anticipated since its initial public reveal. They're now showcasing the game's full picture, starting with these first screenshots. It seems Climax, known for their Mega Drive hits, are really putting their heart into this project, promising something special for the end of the year with a strong team of industry veterans. Key people are introduced. Hiroshi Naito as the director and chief programmer, known for his work on the Landstalker series. Kenji Terada handling the scenario, who has worked on various TV dramas and anime. And Hiroshi Kondo on music, who was involved in the Ellis Band and CM Music. The story sounds intriguing, set on Jailer's Island, a desolate prison island. It's about criminals, social injustice, and a Deathwatch scenario. Bounty hunters, called Golden Gatherers, are also mentioned. The escape success rate from the island is incredibly low, around 0.07%.
setting the stage for a desperate and thrilling story. It's shaping up to be a really engaging RPG experience.
Dark Savior, set on Jailer's Island, is a 3D action RPG emphasizing a 3-day duration gameplay loop. It utilizes a Hyperion perspective for a more immersive 3D environment, building upon the viewpoint style of Landstalker. Player choices significantly impact the storyline, promoting replayability. The game introduces 3 new mechanics: Hyperion perspective for enhanced 3D, parallel scenario for branching storylines based on player actions, and a bounty capture system allowing monster collection. Hidden items and scenario ending variations further enrich the experience. Key characters include Ryuya, a bounty hunter, Semasurubia Kokuki, a ninja, and villains like Velen, Rigoate, Kuruka Kultrogen, and the ultimate bioweapon, Mutant Combat Creature by Ran. Each character and the overall gameplay emphasize the intense experience on Jailer's Island. This page is a special report focusing on the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Dragon Force. It's touted as a real-time simulation RPG set to be released this winter. The article highlights it as a grand-scale RPG where you command military leaders and engage in strategic battles on a field map. The goal is to unite the world, seeking out the legendary Dragon's 8 warriors. The page introduces 4 key characters representing different nations: Wayne, the strong and responsible young king of Highland Kingdom who's a paladin; Tyrus, the new queen of the elf kingdom of Moon Palace, described as beautiful and skilled in magic; Reynert, the king of Tradnor Kingdom, a magic swordsman with ancient blood; and Mikazuki, the king of Izumo Kingdom, a samurai master known for his charisma and trust. The page also mentions that military commanders will have special moves. You can see screenshots showcasing the large-scale battles and character portraits, giving a good first look at Dragon Force's gameplay and world. This page continues the Dragon Force Special Report, diving deeper into the gameplay. It highlights the massive scale of battles, boasting up to 200 characters on screen simultaneously, all engaging in real-time combat. The battles involve various troop types, like archers, swordsmen, and soldiers. The game features a field map where you move your forces, encountering enemies and castles, which then transitions to battle scenes. Within castles, you manage your troops and handle domestic affairs, implying a strategic layer beyond just battles. We're introduced to 4 more key figures: Leon from Tobarez Kingdom, a righteous monk-like warrior standing against the villainous Goldark; Gongos of Bozat's Kingdom, an elf-like forest dweller with a complex relationship with elves; the antagonist Goldark, a ruthless emperor of the Goldark Empire who has been silent for over a decade and now initiates a large war; and Junon, a feared military commander known as the Death-Masked Black Knight, serving Goldark and rumored to seek beautiful women. These character introductions give us a glimpse into the diverse cast and factions within the game's world, building on the previously introduced kings and queens. This page continues the coverage, now focusing on the upcoming battle arena to Shinden S. We get a first look at the returning characters Eiji, Ranga, and Sophia, with Sophia being highlighted as Sexy Sophia, and there are some in-game screenshots showcasing their moves. There's a special interview with Mr. Hiroshi Aso from Sega Enterprises, who's the planning producer. He talks about how they're emphasizing character appeal and trying to keep the original game's feel while improving the visuals. He mentions they're using camera work in the cutscenes to enhance the drama. He also touches on the difficulty level, saying they're aiming for something that's not too easy and appealing to fans, with the 1P mode being similar to the original. Mr. Aso expresses his personal love for wrestling and how he wants to bring that kind of excitement to the game, encouraging players to really get into the characters and enjoy the battles. Interestingly, there's also an early announcement for an arcade version of Battle Arena Toshinden 2, even though Toshinden Cease is still in development. A screenshot of the arcade game is shown. Finally, we get introduced to a bunch of new characters for Toshinden S. Tracy, a cheerful detective; Chaos, a mysterious leader; Gaia, a former villain; and more, including Mondo, Raimi, Vermilion, and Rook. Artwork of these new faces are included, giving us a peek at the expanded roster for this new installment. This page is all about the upcoming Tenchi Muyo C-Drum game for the SEGA Saturn,
which is currently 80% complete and slated to launch on September 29th for 7,800 yen. It's being touted as a database and quiz experience, promising even die-hard Tenchi fans will find something new to discover. You can revisit the entire story with video openings and endings, dive deep into character profiles which include movie clips and voice samples, and explore a vast collection of voice clips and sound effects. The game also features beautiful graphics, boasting 15 original wallpapers. For the ultimate Tenchi aficionado, there's a challenging quiz mode covering everything from characters to visuals and audio. They're saying even the most dedicated fans will be tested with these tough questions. The screenshots show off various sections like character profiles, voice clip selection, graphic displays, and quiz segments. Overall, it seems like the definitive Tenchi Muyo fan package for the Saturn. This page is all about the return of the Super Real Mahjong series to the Sega Saturn in a deluxe set featuring P2, P2i, and PIV. It's hyped as the series that has captivated players and kept them feeding 100 yen coins into arcade machines. The article mentions that this collection is coming to Saturn and boasts improved graphics and new additions like graffiti elements. It acknowledges the series' popularity is due to its attractive female characters and the risque content, specifically mentioning the strip mahjong aspect and the appeal to the male gaze. They've enhanced the graphics and added new ending sequences for PI and P2i, specifically for this Saturn release, making it a must-have for fans. The page includes screenshots showcasing the anime-style girls in various suggestive poses, typical of the Super Real Mahjong games, and emphasizes that this title is for adults aged 18 and over. The article ponders why these games are so successful, attributing it to the combination of character appeal and erotic content. This page gives us a closer look at the 3 Super Real Mahjong games included in the collection. Super Real Mahjong P2 from 1987, Super Real Mahjong P2i from 1988, and Super Real Mahjong PIV from 1993. SPRB 2 is described as the starting point of the series, emphasizing the move towards anime-style graphics and the removal of the feeling of just being an adult game. They highlight Shoko, noting her anime-like face and well-balanced body as reasons for her appeal. Pop 2i is presented as a step up in animation quality, with smoother character movements and richer voice patterns. They mention the demo mode to keep players engaged even if they lose. For Kasumi and Miki, they point out the service cutscenes, suggesting more varied and appealing visual content. Lastly, PIV focuses on its story-like opening demo and diverse cast of characters. Their reviewer appreciates the window-based interface during gameplay and the overall polished gal game feel. They highlight Mana, Yu, and Kaori, mentioning the improved bikini patterns, more realistic up-close views, and overall sex appeal as key attractions. It concludes by reiterating that PV is still in development, emphasizing the series' continued popularity and large fanbase. Marriage is a single-player life simulation game developed by Imageworks and published by Shogakukan Productions, set for a December release at 7,500 yen. The game focuses on the theme of marriage, similar to the Graduation series from Headroom. A press conference in Tokyo announced the game, showcasing 6 characters. These include Sei Shinjo, a popular high school student, Kaoru Keito, a bright sports enthusiast, Mana Koizumi, a strong-willed girl from a wealthy family, Kyoko Takagi, an elegant young lady, Jun Nakamoto, a seemingly ordinary woman, and Azusa Kurahashi, a boyish girl. Each character has a voice actress and unique background, family situation, and perspective on marriage. Photos from the press conference highlight the involvement of staff and voice actors, including Hiroko Kasahara. This game focuses on building relationships using 6 commands: look, talk, touch, give, propose, and move. The gameplay unfolds in 3 phases: acquaintance, engagement, requiring a successful proposal, and marriage. During the acquaintance period, players go on dates to build relationships. The game emphasizes character personalities, even without dialogue, illustrated by different reactions to being late for dates. The game features 6 potential female partners: Sei Shinjo, cool, motorsports enthusiast; Kaoru Keito, sporty; Mana Koizumi, strong-willed, wealthy; Kyoko Takagi, elegant designer; Jun Nakamoto, ordinary, mature; and Azusa Kurahashi, boyish programmer.
This page is a special report focusing on the upcoming SEGA Saturn action RPG called Faradun, The Legend of Dragon Castle. It's highlighted as a Pioneer LDC title scheduled for release next spring, with the price yet to be decided. The article emphasizes the game's unique perspective, describing it as a viewpoint from behind and above the player character, bringing a fresh take to action RPGs. They mention it tackles the problem of object and character positioning in 3D games by allowing players to move freely in a 3D-like virtual space. The reviewer points out the polygon graphics used for terrain and some enemy characters, and the planned Disney-esque animations, suggesting a vibrant and colorful visual style is being aimed for. The article also touches on gameplay, noting traps and puzzle elements within the game, which players will need to solve through trial and error. It seems the reviewer feels the game will be accessible even to beginners, and expresses confidence in the game's quality, suggesting players will be impressed. The screenshots showcase the isometric perspective, 3D characters in combat, and a glimpse of the game's world. It is stated the game is currently about 10% complete. This page continues the feature on the upcoming 3D action RPG, Faradun. The article details how the game is aiming to be a new standard for the genre on 32-bit consoles. The viewpoint is specifically designed to be from behind and slightly above the player, which they say helps with judging distances and object placement in the 3D environment, making it easier to play. They emphasize the action elements in a 3D field and mention inspiration from games like Landstalker and the Zelda series, particularly in terms of puzzle and trap design, indicating there will be complex puzzle elements. We get introduced to the three main playable characters designed by Fujishima Hiroaki, who is known for titles like Valkyrie Profile. There's Mercelt, described as a bandit, who uses a bow and arrow and is accompanied by a dog. Monica, a princess, wields a sword and has a bird companion, portrayed as elegant. Finally, Leon, a knight who uses a rapier and has a wolf companion, described as brave and passionate. The article mentions that players choose one of these three, and by playing through with each character, the full story will be revealed. There's also a small interview with Mr. Kamei Akira, the producer from Pioneer LDC, who reiterates that Faradun is a 3D action RPG intended to set a new standard for the genre on 32-bit machines. He expresses hope that this game will become a new benchmark for 3D action RPGs. The Sega Saturn version of Virtua Racing is presented as a significant upgrade over the arcade original. This port promises a faithful recreation of the arcade experience with enhanced visuals, including texture mapping. It adds new car types like F1, Coupe, GTP, and go-karts, catering to diverse racing preferences. A major draw is the inclusion of 7 new courses: Alpine, Pacific Coast, Diablo Canyon, Metropolis, Surfers, Speedway, and Amazon Falls, each offering a unique theme and environment. The development team, 75% complete at the time of the article, aims to capture the arcade's speed and immersive feel while adding original features. They're also focusing on improving the handling and analog interface for an enjoyable driving experience. This page is a special report announcing that Street Fighter Zero, known internationally as Street Fighter Alpha, is coming to the Sega Saturn. It was apparently a big announcement met with cheers at a summer event. The page highlights key features of Zero, breaking them down for readers. First up is the Super Combo level gauge, explaining how it works, and that characters have multiple super combos in the game. Then it describes the Zero Counter, a defensive technique to counter enemy attacks, emphasizing its strategic use from both standing and down positions. For newcomers, there's a beginner mode detailed, with an auto guard mode that automatically blocks attacks. It mentions a simpler, easy super combo system using 2 buttons. Finally, the page showcases the fascinating characters, asking, "Who will you choose?" It shows off a group of fighters, including Ryu, Chun-Li, Guy, Sodom, Birdie, Azadon, Charlie, Rose, and Ken, followed by another group with Dan, Sagat, M, Bison, Dhalsim, and Zangief. The page emphasizes that the screenshots are all from the arcade version. This page is all about X-Men, Children of the Atom on the Saturn. It seems they got their hands on a sample room and are really impressed with how it's shaping up. The reviewer is clearly excited about the fast and smooth character animations.
saying it really captures the power of the next-generation consoles. They mention it's based on the CLEDROM format, which might mean longer loading times.
The page focuses on two characters, Cyclops and Wolverine. For Cyclops, they detail his special moves like the Optic Blast, Rising Upper, XP Leg Throw, and the powerful HX Mega Optic Blast. For Wolverine, they showcase moves such as HX Berserker Barrage, XP Berserker Charge, XP Healing Factor, Drill Claw, and Tornado Claw. It also gives brief character profiles for both, mentioning Cyclops as Scott Summers from America, tall and weighing 79 kilograms, and Wolverine as Logan from Canada, shorter and heavier at 88 kilograms. Overall, the article gives a positive early impression of X-Men. Children of the Atom on the SEGA Saturn, highlighting the gameplay and character features. This page continues the preview of Marvel superheroes, showcasing more characters and their moves. First up is Iceman, described as a deeply thoughtful character with a cheerful personality, hailing from the USA and weighing 66 kilograms. His moves are detailed, including Ice Beam, Ice Fist, Ice Avalanche, and Arctic Attack. Next we have Psylocke, noted for her beautiful appearance and sharp personality, a psychic ninja who comes from England and weighs 70 kilograms. Her moves shown are PSI Blast, Psychic Knife, and Blade Spin. The reviewer mentions her strength lies in her weapon-like psychic powers and combo potential, enabling stylish and powerful consecutive attacks. The page highlights that this Marvel superheroes game is the sequel to the X-Men game, and gems dropped by defeated enemies can power up characters, leading to Infinity Specials. It also notes that this game was showcased at the AM show and was a hot topic. Finally, there's a section introducing several other characters that will appear in Marvel superheroes, with portraits including characters like Shumagorath, Blackheart, Juggernaut, Magneto, and others like Wolverine, Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Captain America. Each character has a brief description. The Capcom Summer Festival at Kokugi-Con, a hot and exciting event, featured game tournaments, live performances, and cosplay. The Fierce Game Tournament showcased high-level play in Street Fighter Zero, Street Fighter Real Battle on Film, and X-Men, a cosplay contest judged by photos awarded winners, including a notable Guile cosplayer. Singer Ryoko Shinohara and comedian Hikari Ito were among the guest performers. An interview with Capcom's Katsuyuki Nagai discussed their expansion into new genres, software depth for Saturn, and considering server party. He also mentioned the Street Fighter II movie game and the influence of championships. The festival was attended by Capcom employees who participated in the cosplay contest. Finally, an advertisement promoted the Street Fighter II Battle Phone campaign on Saturn, offering prizes like trips and luxury goods for players connecting via phone lines from September 8 to October 31, 1995. This page showcases the upcoming SEGA Saturn shooting game, Gunbird, from Atlus and Sikyo. It's hyped as a thrilling and adventurous shooting game, following in the footsteps of Sikyo's previous hit. The article highlights that the game is set to be released by the end of the year for 5,800 yen and supports two-player action. Gunbird's story revolves around adventurers seeking the mythical magic mirror of Atlus. Gameplay is described as classic 8-directional scrolling shooting with bombs and power-up shots, plus sub-weapons. A key feature is the selection of 5 unique player characters, moving away from typical mecha shooters and instead focusing on human characters. The article mentions each character has their own story and will appear in the demos. Interestingly, the game promises multiple endings depending on player choices, especially in 2-player mode and character combinations, leading to varied conclusions. Screenshots show in-game action and the character selection screen featuring Marion as a playable magic user. The writer suggests the game will be quite challenging, especially the Saturn version based on the screenshots provided. New release title previews a large selection of upcoming SEGA Saturn games. A coming soon soft section highlights approximately 25 titles slated for September and October. The games span various genres: sports games like Sega International Victory Goal and Hat Trick Hero S, fighting games such as Dragon Ball Z, Idainaru Dragon Ball Densetsu, and Metal Fighter Miku, RPGs like Legend of Oasis and Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, strategy games like World Advanced Daisen Ryaku, and even puzzle games like Ocha-chan no Oikaki Logic, and a compilation of Twinbee games. The page showcases the Saturn's diverse library,
offering something for every player.
This review highlights 3 new game releases. X-Japan Virtual Shock 001 is a music game targeted at female players, featuring the band X-Japan. Players get backstage access to their Tokyo Dome concert, complete with interviews and dynamic live footage. SEGA International Victory Goal is an enhanced international soccer game, offering updated gameplay, team selections, and commentary. It builds upon its predecessor, Victory Goal, with improvements. Lastly, Masters Harukanaru Augusta 3 is a 3D golf simulation with impressive graphics, offering realistic gameplay and various game modes, including tournaments and detailed performance tracking. It encourages players to strive for a low score and boasts graphical improvements over its predecessor, aiming for a 100% completion rate upon its September release. 3 upcoming SEGA Saturn games are previewed. Issei Meijin, a completed shogi game, offers strategic gameplay with features like move suggestions and prediction functions, emphasizing quality for serious players. Mobile Suit Gundam, a 30% complete side-scrolling action shooter, adapts the popular anime with rendered CG graphics and mobile suit combat, targeting Gundam fans. Dragon Ball Z, Super Butoden Legend, a 45% complete fighting game, aims to be a 32-bit upgrade of the Super Famicom games, retaining the dual-screen battle format and special moves, with promises of new elements for Saturn owners. 4 upcoming SEGA Saturn games are highlighted. Virtual Open Tennis from Imagineer is an 80% complete tennis simulator with realistic gameplay and training modes, due October 27th. Pro Mahjong Kiwame S by Athena is a 70% complete mahjong game featuring 16 professional players, planned for late autumn. Legend of Ogre, tentative, a 5% complete action RPG by Sega and Ancient, promises a mythological setting with a new protagonist, aiming for a spring release. Finally, Hat Trick Hero Saturn, a 40% complete port of the arcade soccer game by Taito, arrives in November with new modes and 4-player support. 2 SEGA Saturn games are spotlighted. America Udon Ultra Quiz, a 60% complete quiz game by Victor Entertainment, releasing October 27th for 5,800 yen, featuring rock-paper-scissors elements and emphasizing multiplayer fun. Princess Maker 2, developed by Microcabin, is a 65% complete raising simulation game, also launching October 27th for 7,800 yen. It focuses on a single-player experience of raising a daughter over 8 years, with improved graphics, particularly for vacation scenes. An extra information section reveals snippets of various games in development, including a mahjong title, a tarot card game, a mecha action game, an adventure game, a racing game, and a raising/dating sim, offering short previews and updates for upcoming titles. The Voyager section features reader experiences. Pana recalls playing Mega Drive games during power outages, enjoying the 32X and Afterburner, and preferring indoor gaming. Another reader in Osaka describes purchasing Romance of the Three Kingdoms IV and the privacy of CD games. They share personal struggles, including university entrance failures, and finding an unexpected path to a girls' college. A different Osaka reader, in Volcanic Restaurant, relates their experiences to being controlled by a game controller during exams, and the rejection they faced after a confession. They were also frustrated by the delayed release of Tokimeki Memorial, and coping with a poison-tongued older sister that controls gaming habits. Lastly, Ken Hyde from Shizuoka recounts the competitive frustration of playing Virtua Fighter 2, emphasizing the cycle of losing and the desire for victory. Kankan Gaku Gaku discusses the Sega Saturn's price cut and its impact on buyers. Early adopters who paid the original price express mixed feelings, while others, like Wolf Izo, see it as beneficial, anticipating increased console and software sales. Readers share varied opinions. Some feel betrayed, others welcome the affordability. The magazine also addresses game delays, citing debugging and quality improvement as reasons, while acknowledging disappointment. It emphasizes accessibility in games, suggesting subtitles and inclusive design. Finally, it highlights readers' desires for more original RPGs on the Saturn, specifically calling for titles with compelling stories, music, and gameplay, in the style of Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, to enhance the system's appeal.
This page continues the reader feedback section, with more opinions on the Sega Saturn price reduction. One reader humorously writes in, wondering what to do now they own 2 Saturn consoles after the price drop. Sega responds by apologizing for any upset caused by the price cut, but reiterates their commitment to user satisfaction and future plans. There's a small comic strip on the right side of the page. It looks like a lighthearted fantasy story, perhaps a little break from the reader letters. Down in the bottom right is a question box segment posing the question, can roguelike RPGs surpass traditional RPGs? They discuss how new systems allow for fresh RPG experiences and want to know what players think about the future of RPGs, particularly if roguelike games can become the dominant style. Finally, the Futenkina Okusan and Yobigun section shares reader-submitted stories. One is about a wife deciding to buy a Saturn and enjoying the game Clockwork Knight. Another is about a girlfriend whose boyfriend is bothered by her game purchases. There's a story about a female student's family reacting to her buying a Saturn, and another about a husband's playful complaint about his wife being engrossed in games, comparing her to the characters in PV-style games. It seems like a collection of funny and relatable anecdotes from Saturn owners and their families. This page showcases reader-submitted artwork and comments centered around the Gallery of Saturn. Featured art includes pieces by Leo, Lunar, and others, with comments from excited fans. Tama, 21, drew a scene from Snake Diet, while Kumanosuke, 18, created a lunar-themed piece. Miyasuka, Akira, presented a stylized artwork, and Hirota Kaihei, 23, showcased a detailed car illustration. Nomura Yase, 19, offered artistic critique. The page also highlights Saturn Angeling, Migration Hope, where readers expressed their wish for angelique games on the Saturn. Mimako, 22, from Ibaraki Prefecture, and Chiaki from Osaka Prefecture, voiced their excitement and love for the game, particularly for Oscar. Finally, the page includes Hate Sata Saturn, a segment defining Saturn as creations made from milk cartons by Gontusen and Nippozen, referencing the educational TV show Dekiru Kana. Arakawa Maki, 26, from Shizuoka Prefecture, submitted this definition, reflecting childhood nostalgia for the show. This page presents a collection of reader-submitted artwork under the title Gallery of Saturn. Starting in the top left is a piece from Chiba Prefecture by Hatsudemiya, featuring characters with hearts and speech bubbles. Next to it, from Miyagi Prefecture, Tetsubako, 17, offers a drawing of a person in a thoughtful pose. Then there's Nice Pose, E.H. Good, from Osaka, created by Mishima Toshinori, 13, showing a figure against a cityscape. Moving down, Troubled Children is from Saitama, by Nagase Junhichi, 21, which looks like a caricature. Beside it is Shundi Sakuragi from Chiba, by Crazy Lil, 19, presenting an anime-style girl. Finally, Thunder, Earth, from Nagata, is by the Chinese People's Support Force, appearing as a comic strip panel. Below the artwork, there's an announcement of questionnaire and present winners. It lists winners for a SoftBank Game Compilation 3 questionnaire from July issues of the PlayStation, the Super Famicom, and SEGA Saturn Magazine. The winners are listed for Sega Saturn consoles, PlayStation consoles, and telephone cards. For Sega Saturn console winners, there's Suzuki AG from Kanazawa City and Wada Isamu from Nayagawa City. For PlayStation, there's Kudota Yoshimi from Kitakyushu City and Hiramatsu Yoshihisa from Kawasaki City. Lastly, there are many winners listed for telephone cards from various locations. This page focuses on reader engagement, with sections dedicated to opinions, trivia, and submissions. Chikubi ni aitai highlights excited reactions to game demos, particularly Panzer Dragoon. Hitokoto from Earthlings features short reader comments on diverse topics, from gaming experiences to Sega Saturn love and requests for specific games. AQ&A addresses the purpose of game manual coupons. Polygon Doctor's Do You Know column includes reader submissions in various corners like Earthling Circle, Smart Lady and Anticipated Core, Game Craze Knowledge, My Saturn, and Boasting Booth. Gallery of Constellations showcases reader art. Voyager Submissions provides guidelines for contributing to the Voyager section for a chance to win prizes.
A correction at the end clarifies a previous article's error about controller ports.
This page is from SEGA Saturn Supporters Volume 8, and features an interview with the band Blow, consisting of Yamato Sawamura on vocals, Norio Nonaka on guitar, and Hidetoshi Suzuki on keyboard. The interview focuses on their connection to the SEGA Saturn. The band members discuss their interest in SEGA Saturn, with one mentioning he enjoys RPGs and racing games. They talk about playing Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA, and how these games influence their music creation. They mention working on music for a game called Tiz, and the process of writing songs based on game scenarios and visuals. They also touch on the emotional impact of game music, and their desire to create music that resonates with players. The band highlights how they incorporate guitar techniques and keyboard sounds inspired by games into their music. The page also includes photos of the band members, and a graphic of their album, Blow/Breathless.
This page introduces the latest peripherals for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting the analog mission stick. This new analog joystick is presented as a versatile controller suitable for various game genres, and was released on September 29th, priced at 7,800 yen. The article emphasizes that this is SEGA Saturn's first genuine analog joystick, and describes its comfortable grip and solid build. It uses 4 infrared sensors to detect lever angles for smooth and precise control. The stick features a slotted lever for analog control, along with B and C buttons, and a trigger, a button, on the back. The control section includes A to Z, L, R, and start buttons. A key feature highlighted is the stick's adjustable swing mechanism, catering to both left and right-handed players. The article mentions that SEGA was already announcing specifications for a Pandora system around this time, and implies compatibility with existing software, using Panzer Dragoon and Cybertroopers Virtualon as examples of games that can utilize it. Furthermore, the article points out expansion connectors on the back that enable even more advanced setups, suggesting the possibility of using 2 sticks for twin-stick control in supported games. The reviewer seems impressed with the versatility and build quality of this new peripheral, positioning it as a must-have for serious Saturn gamers. This page reviews various SEGA Saturn peripherals. The standard control pad is recommended for button-mashing fun in games like Greatest 9 and Virtualon. For serious gamers, the Virtual Stick offers precise control for games such as VF and shooting titles. The Shuttle Mouse, with its unique design and 3 buttons, is great for games like Digital Pinball, Last Gladiators. The Multi-Terminal 6 allows up to 6 players, perfect for multiplayer sports games like Victory Goal. The Racing Controller, featuring analog controls, flippers, and tilt functions, enhances racing games like Daytona USA and Gale Racer. Finally, the Heavy-Duty Fighting Stick SS, an arcade-style joystick from Hori, is ideal for fighting games and arcade ports like Super Real Mahjong PV. This page highlights various SEGA Saturn accessories. The Sunsoft Saturn Pad offers programmable buttons, rapid fire, and slow motion functions, ideal for fighting games. The Power Memory cartridge provides 1 MB of backup RAM, eliminating the need for batteries and expanding save data capacity. The Movie Card/Video CD decoder enables video CD and photo CD playback, turning the Saturn into a multimedia device. For karaoke enthusiasts, the karaoke unit adds microphone input and echo effects. The Hitachi Nextage TV, a widescreen TV tailored for the Saturn, provides superior visual experience. The ASC2 Pad X offers programmable buttons and rapid fire, while the ASC2 Fighter Stick X provides a durable, arcade-style joystick for serious gamers. Finally, various AV cables are presented, with Sterminal or RGB cables recommended for optimal picture quality. This page is an interview with the manager of the second design department at SEGA, who is in charge of planning and developing Saturn peripherals. He reveals that there are still many unannounced peripherals in the pipeline. The interview touches on several upcoming peripherals and their likelihood of release. A wireless pad is almost certain at 100%, aiming for a smaller size and reasonable price. A communication modem for online play is quite likely at 70%. Though standardization is a concern, the keyboard is less certain at 40%, mainly for educational or business software. A hard disk has a low probability of 10% due to cost and maintenance concerns. Finally, an RGB cable is a definite 100%, as high-quality video output is seen as essential. The manager emphasizes that for peripherals, they prioritize affordability, user safety, and considering the usage environment, especially for home use. He also mentions exploring peripherals for business applications beyond just consumer games. The development process involves creating multiple mock-ups to gather feedback and refine the designs, always keeping cost and marketability in mind. Ultimately, the goal is to create peripherals that appeal to a wide range of Saturn users and enhance their experience.
This page delves into the rivalry between the Sega Saturn and the upcoming 64-bit consoles. It seems there was a collaboration proposal between SGI, the makers of powerful workstations, and Nintendo, but it apparently fizzled out. The article suggests Sega was also approached by SGI, hinting that maybe Nintendo aimed to use SGI technology for their Ultra 64, which is what they were calling the Nintendo 64 at the time. The page then shifts to the 3DO, highlighting its impressive hardware specs, particularly the M2 chip. It positions the 3DO as a strong competitor to the Saturn, boasting about its graphical capabilities. However, the article also emphasizes Sega's confidence in the Saturn. Despite the rise of these new 64-bit machines, Sega seems determined to prove that the Saturn can still hold its own in the console war. Finally, there's a little terminology explanation about MPU, or microprocessing unit, contrasting it with CPU, and referencing the Motorola 68000 series processors that were used in systems like the Sega Genesis and early arcade boards. The next page focuses on the power of the Sega Saturn and how its capabilities could be expanded. The article discusses two main approaches to boost the Saturn's functionality. One by maximizing the built-in functions of the Saturn itself, and another by leveraging the Klydrom drive and controller port for expansion. It mentions that Sega's hardware research department stated in a publication called Nikkei Electronics back in May 1995 that the next-generation game machines would use 100 MIPS processors, suggesting the M2 chip might be a kind of Saturn upgrade, although it's unclear if it will be for Saturn or a new system. There's also a hardware queue and a section addressing a user's question about why Super Famicom and PlayStation games display correctly on older TVs, while Saturn games sometimes don't. The answer explains that it's due to differences in video signal outputs and synchronization signals between these consoles and older TVs, particularly with RGB signals. It recommends consulting with retailers if encountering display issues. Finally, there's a word explanation box that clarifies anti-aliasing, explaining it as a technique to smooth out jagged edges in graphics by adding intermediate colors to boundaries, making images look softer and more natural. This is presented in the context of game graphics improvement. The page also features logos of various tech companies seemingly involved in console development, including Matsushita, Panasonic, 3DO, Motorola, Sega, Sony, LSI Logic, Yamaha, MIPS, SGI, Nintendo, and NEC. Open Up! Information Treasure Box by Kazutoshi Otani of Next Level Multimedia Chronicles. Otani's observations during a visit to Boston, focusing on digital technology. He covers the American video game market, particularly the scarce availability of the Sega Saturn, contrasting it with the dominance of Genesis and Super Nintendo. Otani notes the presence of 3DO and CDI consoles, and highlights the growing popularity of 3D games on Macintosh computers, mentioning titles like Doom and Marathon, and showcasing examples like Havoc and Galapagos. The article also introduces Cybersmith, a unique American establishment blending an internet cafe and arcade, offering Mac-based internet and coin-operated PlayStation games. Notably, the PlayStation games display text in Japanese. The piece concludes with a nod to the possibility of printing digital photos on merchandise.
This issue of SEGA Saturn Magazine features diverse content. Sun Shadow Street caters to hardcore gamers, discussing Daiba Hollow Circle King and Bakapons. Saturn Magazine Editorial Mystery humorously details the editorial office's proximity to Margarine Hall. Hollow Circle Sample Riglord Saga playfully previews the game Riglord Saga, calling it a joke game and mentioning a low release price.
Stack It Like This
Provides puzzle game tips with screenshots.
Sega's new image character, Peppa's sequel predictions, humorously envisions a sequel with a character's descendant. Selected post-editorial notes, offers editor reflections on the console transition, reader feedback, and a trip to Hakata, concluding with lighthearted remarks from the editors. This page announces the release date for the Virtua Fighter 2 Maniacs guidebook on October 6th. It will be a four-sized, over 400-page special issue packed with information for hardcore players.
The article mentions it will feature in-depth strategy, interviews, and reports on overseas arcade scenes, specifically from Australia, noting observations about player styles in Virtua Fighter 2. It also mentions a follow-up to Internet Maniacs, called Internet Maniacs 2, coming out on September 25th. Elsewhere on the page, in the HAL section, the writer talks about the summer ending and work getting busier, expressing excitement for the Armored Trooper Votoms anime, airing in November. The Velocity Jamboree section delves into arcade culture and mahjong, discussing the skill and luck involved in arcade mahjong games, referencing games like Sakurabana Ichimon and Tokyo Majin Gakuin Kenpujo. Finally, there are book review sections from Bamboo Grove publishers, featuring books with titles like Bamboo Grove Voice Stories and Shoichi Bamboo Grove, seemingly related to mahjong or gambling themes. This collection features diverse articles. Shinjuku Jackie's Oral Plan chronicles the writer's driving test struggles, ultimately succeeding after practice. Ikebukuro Sara's Virtua Crash Volume 5 is a personal account of playing a new Virtua Fighter game, despite being sick, showcasing dedication. Jun Miyake's Century End Travelogue explores high-risk, high-reward money-making schemes, hinting at unconventional methods and financial risk. Mata Mata Minoru's Crank Things recounts a light-hearted experience visiting hot springs in Kumamoto, including social interactions. The editor's postscript reflects on the enduring value of photographs, cameras, and the process of creating content, highlighting personal memories and the evolution of technology. This page showcases the upcoming SEGA Saturn game release schedule. It's presented in a table format detailing games coming out from August through to the end of 1995 and beyond. For August, there are numerous entries in the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait series, alongside titles like Chaos Control, Godzilla Kaiju Daikisen, and The Tower. September highlights Zork 1 and more Virtua Fighter CG Portrait series releases. October includes games like Air's Adventure and Quo Vadis. Looking towards this winter releases, we see Rayman, X-Men Children of the Atom, and Gotha 2. Finally, games slated for 95 year-end include Bug, Dragon Force, and Vampire Hunter. The page essentially provides a roadmap of upcoming SEGA Saturn software, covering a wide range of genres, and hinting at the exciting titles players could anticipate in the coming months. This page details the upcoming software schedule for Mega Drive, Mega CD, Super 32X, and Game Gear. For Mega Drive and Mega CD, October 22nd sees the release of The Ooze, while other titles slated for release around autumn include Pengo, tentative, Surgical Strike, tentative, Nightmare Circus, tentative, Zul's Yuhuken, Shadowrun, Alien Soldier, Samurai Spirits, Batman Forever, and Foreman for Real. Moving on to Super 32X, Virtua Fighter was scheduled for October 20th, followed by Midnight Raiders and Batman Forever. Lastly, the Game Gear section highlights releases such as FIFA International Soccer on September 14th, Tails Adventure on September 22nd, and Mappy re-release on September 27th. October sees Gear Stadium Heisei Pro Baseball, while November includes Magical Taruto-kun, Fantastic, Fashionable Battle, J-League Soccer Dream 11, Sonic Labyrinth, and Pocket Ghost re-release.
In December, Godzilla Generations, Destroy All Monsters is listed. Other undated releases for Game Gear include Bokoback Animal World Championship, Batman Forever, and Foreman for Real. At the bottom of the page, there's a Each Title Change Check section, which looks like it discusses adjustments to release schedules. The Saturn is gearing up for a strong release season. SEGA is showcasing Dragon Force, Capcom Street Fighter Alpha, and Virgin Interactive Earthworm Jim 2. Gainax is releasing Multi-Nadia Video Kids, while Sunsoft is porting Galaxy Fight. Konami confirms Snatcher and Police Knots Deluxe Pack. Data East is working on Water Margin Heroes, and Compile is opening a store. New Developer Pain is debuting an S.RPG. Hudson is promoting Space Science World Gulliver Boy, and Victor is teasing 4 connected releases, including Taimaya. Mizuki delayed Lupin III.
Arc System Works celebrates Executor and Great Magician. T&E Soft brings Golf Great Masters. Bandai releases Gundam games. And Media Entertainment presents Shutrail. The Satamaga team anticipates Street Fighter Alpha and Snatcher, among others. This page is a sales advertisement from a game store called Santa, and it's jam-packed with SEGA Saturn goodies and some Mega CD and 32X stuff too. They're advertising consumer tax-free prices, which suggests a discount. There's a big section for SEGA Saturn consoles, listing different models and bundles like the V Saturn and HI Saturn. They have a new release corner featuring games like Dragon Force, Earthworm Jim 2, Street Fighter Alpha, and Gotha the Go. Ha! It seems like they're highlighting recently released or upcoming titles, mentioning a bunch of developers like Gainax, Sunsoft, Konami, and Data East who are bringing out new games. There is also a section for Mega CD2 games and backup RAM cartridges. Moving on, there's an import corner with a bunch of titles, and then a GG+1 corner, which looks like budget-priced games. They also have dedicated sections for games at specific price points like 3,500 yen, 2,500 yen, and 2,000 yen, offering a wide range of titles at discounted prices. They list loads of games in these budget sections, too many to name individually, but it's a great way to find some cheaper games. Finally, they cover peripheral devices like controllers and cables, and even have a section for the 32X add-on with games and accessories for that system. It's a comprehensive listing, covering a wide range of SEGA hardware and software available at the time. The next page is an advertisement for the Tokyo Game Designer Academy, a school focused on training people for the games industry. They have a range of courses, including game designer, game artist, game planner and scenario writer, sound creator, and even CryDrum multimedia video creator courses. For game designers, they offer beginner and experience level courses. It looks like they are running an open house in April 1996 and accepting applications for students starting in October. They even highlight success stories of past students who got jobs in game companies after completing their courses, promoting the school as a legendary place to kickstart a career in games. This page is packed with new game information and special offers. It kicks off with recommended new game information, highlighting 4 upcoming SEGA Saturn titles: Blue Chicago Blues, a river adventure game; World Advanced Strategy, Iron Storm, a grand strategy war game; Wing Arms, Glorious Ace Pilot, a shooting game where you become a top ace pilot; and Twin Bee Yahoo! Deluxe Pack, a cutie-mup shooter. All these games are slated for release in late September. There's also an emergency release section, shouting about Layer section, known internationally as Galactic Attack, a vertically scrolling shooter, available from September 14th at a special price. Below it seems to be sale prices, with sections for SEGA Saturn and Jaguar games, and even hardware and parts. The Saturn games cover a wide range of genres, from fighting and RPGs to sports and shooting titles. The Jaguar section also lists a variety of games. Finally, there are parts and hardware listed for both Saturn and Jaguar, including controllers, memory carts, cables, and other accessories. This document is a reader survey from SEGA Saturn Magazine. The survey begins with instructions on filling out the form, emphasizing clear writing. It gathers demographic information, including gender, age, and occupation, and explores readers' gaming habits, specifically regarding SEGA Saturn software ownership and magazine readership. The survey then seeks opinions on the current magazine issue. Using a rating scale for articles, tables accompany the survey, offering a comprehensive overview of the SEGA Saturn ecosystem. Table 1 lists the magazine's featured articles, Table 2 details hardware like the Saturn and other consoles, and Table 3 provides an extensive list of software titles, including many SEGA Saturn games. The data collected is likely intended to gauge reader preferences and inform future content and product offerings. This page is a special feature article titled, Addicted to City Building Simulations. Autumn Nightlongs are for city building. It highlights the popularity of simulation games, particularly city building, mentioning that many users have been eagerly awaiting SimCity 2000 for the SEGA Saturn, describing it as a title that will show a different side of the Saturn. The article explains that SimCity 2000, already a hit on PC, allows players to become mayors and grow their cities, emphasizing it as a city simulation game. It suggests that for Saturn users unfamiliar with this genre,
It will be a fresh and captivating experience. The page features screenshots from SimCity 2000 on Saturn, showcasing the gameplay. It also mentions the Tower and Theme Park as similar games that will offer the same kind of enjoyment and are both world-class hits. There are screenshots for the Tower and Theme Park too, showing gameplay. Release date information is included below each screenshot. For SimCity 2000, it's listed for release on 9/29 at a price of P106. The Tower is slated for a December release at P110 and Theme Park also for December at P111, with Steakhouse scenery mentioned as a detail within Theme Park. The article concludes by stating that it will continue to keep readers informed about the latest developments for the Tower and Theme Park. The next page dives into SimCity 2000 for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting the joy of being a mayor and building your own city. It mentions that the Saturn version is just around the corner and emphasizes the graphical upgrades from the original PC version, especially how buildings evolve visually over time. They encourage players to experience the satisfaction of watching their city grow and point out features like opening movies and a news system to keep players informed about their citizens. The page then breaks down the game flow into 6 key steps, acting as a mini-guide on how to build your city. First, you create the terrain, shaping the land to your liking to start your city. Next, you need to build power plants, because a city needs electricity to function. Third, you create residential, commercial, and industrial zones where people live, work, and do business. Fourth is expanding your transportation network by building roads and railways to manage traffic flow. Fifth, you need to respond to the needs of your residents, listening to their concerns, and building amenities they desire. Finally, the goal is to grow your city into a metropolis by developing industries and constructing landmarks like airports, stadiums, and zoos. The page also makes sure to point out that a power memory cartridge is essential for saving your large city data, as the game requires significant save space. It suggests getting one to avoid disappointment. Mastering the icons in SimCity 2000 on the Saturn is crucial for effective city management. These icons, termed the Mayor's Orders, are divided into 2 primary groups: terrain editing and city simulation. Terrain editing tools allow you to shape the initial landscape, manipulating elevation, water levels, and adding features like rivers and trees. Navigation tools aid in exploring the map. City simulation icons are essential for ongoing city development. They encompass demolition, beautification features like parks, essential services like power and water, and transportation infrastructure. You'll also manage education, public safety, leisure facilities, zoning, residential, commercial, industrial, finances, and trade through ports and airports. Bonus buildings add extra flair. The game offers comprehensive data visualization through maps, graphs, zone displays, and a help system, along with a dedicated industrial display. This guide, Beginner Mayor's 6 Big Points, focuses on essential city building in SimCity 2000 for SEGA Saturn. It highlights crucial elements for new players. Power plants are the first key, advising on selecting appropriate sources, oil, nuclear, solar, based on city needs and lifespan. Water supply, utilizing water towers and efficient pipe placement, is emphasized. Road and rail networks are crucial for transportation, requiring careful planning for functionality. Underground space can be utilized for utilities like water and subways, saving surface space but at a higher cost. The guide also details specific power plant types, including their pros and cons. Finally, Waterworks is reiterated, stressing the importance of a stable water supply. The guide functions as a primer for essential utilities and transportation, setting the foundation for city success. This guide to SimCity 2000 covers essential city management aspects. The budget section emphasizes financial control through taxes, balancing income and expenses, and responding to citizen feedback. Disaster countermeasures prepares players for inevitable events, advising the use of emergency services. Beginners are advised to disable disasters initially. The terrain editor section introduces the tool for creating custom landscapes, recommending flat terrain for new players, but encouraging experimentation. Terrain editing costs money, so early planning is crucial. A fun section highlights a Sonic the Hedgehog statue in the Saturn version, unique to that platform. The gameplay loop centers on building a thriving, ideally designed city, not just a large one. Strategic building placement and citizen satisfaction are key to success. Players are encouraged to enjoy creating their own unique cities. This page showcases the Tower coming to Sega Saturn, which is being touted as a pure Japanese building owner simulation game, currently 40% complete and slated for a December release. It's described as a building and management simulation where you create your own skyscraper, similar in concept to the SimCity series from Willwright, although this one focuses on vertical construction. The core gameplay revolves around tenant satisfaction by strategically placing offices, restaurants, hotels, and entertainment facilities, while managing finances, construction costs, and importantly, minimizing tenant stress through efficient elevator and escalator placement. The Saturn version is like this. Section is an interview with the game designers, Saito and Takano. They highlight unique Saturn features like building twin towers to influence people flow and location variety, such as international airports and resort cities. They mention customizable restaurant types and an algorithm controlling people's actions within the tower. They also discuss using Saturn's capabilities for bird's-eye view animations and leveraging Crydrom capacity. Mouse control isn't planned, with the gamepad being the focus for a user-friendly interface intended for a wide age range. They're considering network play for the future. Ruth. Promotional plans include TV commercials using game footage and a marketing concept around market competition principle, possibly incorporating in-game advertising and player profit sharing. They also mention exploring internet versions and network play experiments for the future, emphasizing the Saturn version as preparation.
This page is about the Sega Saturn version of Theme Park, a game where you create your own amusement park designed to please everyone. The article mentions it's from Bullfrog, the creators of Populous and Powermonger, and was originally a big hit on PC. The core gameplay involves building and managing your theme park to satisfy customers. You need to strategically place attractions like roller coasters and food stalls, manage staff, and control finances to ensure profitability. The section, Saturn version is like this, is an interview with Mr. Hirai Ken. He mentions that the Saturn version is mostly complete in terms of gameplay and content, with graphical enhancements for 3D compatibility. He highlights that while they've reduced the number of attractions slightly compared to the 3D version due to memory constraints, they've focused on balancing gameplay and graphics. He assures players that it is designed to be enjoyable for everyone, from beginners to advanced players, and emphasizes the fun factor. He also mentions that they are considering consumer feedback and see difficulty level as a key aspect. Mr. Hirai also touches on the idea of Theme Park Hospital as a possible title for a future hospital management simulation game. The page also briefly mentions the trend of simulation games shifting from PC to consoles, mentioning other titles such as Success Story and Tadaima Wakusei Sentuchu, suggesting a growing market for simulation games on consoles. There are screenshots showcasing the in-game graphics of Theme Park on Saturn. This page introduces Fantastic Twinbee Yahoo! Deluxe Pack for the Sega Saturn, a comical shooting game from Konami. It's coming out on September 29th, costing 5,800 yen, and it's ready to go at 100% completion. The page mentions it's a great comical shooter where you can use combination attacks. One of the questions they tackle is about screen modes, arcade or full. They explain that arcade mode stretches the screen horizontally to be like the original arcade game, while full mode is optimized for vertical screens, suggesting it's better for experienced players. Then, there's a Super Digest section that gives an overview of Fantastic Twinbee. It's a 7-stage game with 2 loops, promising high-tension gameplay and pastel-colored stages filled with unique and charming characters. They then give stage previews for Valley of Wind, Stage 1, Moldy Area, Stage 4, Underground Water Source, Stage 5, and Underground Waterway, Stage 6. For each stage, they describe the enemies and bosses, giving tips on how to defeat them. Stage 1 has a giant crab boss. Stage 4 features jellyfish enemies. Stage 5 has a 5-headed dragon boss where using barriers and changing to Chipopo is key. And Stage 6 features a giant jellyfish boss.
The Fantastic Twinbee Yahoo! Deluxe Pack details gameplay mechanics and stages. Players face a choice between the standard barrier and the rabbit barrier, a risk-reward system promoting aggressive play. Cooperative 2-player mode, ideal for Twinbee, allows powerful combination attacks but limits barrier customization.
Players choose from normal, focused, and Gachinko shots.
Several stages are previewed. Stage 2, Cloud Sea,
features a wooden ship and background enemies. Stage 3, Sky Fortress, is set at night, with mechanical foes and threats from all directions. Stage 6, Temple of Eva, is a hazardous defense base with lasers. Stage 7, Underground City, is the final destination, with unique enemies, a beetle boss, and the final boss. Two-player mode in Stage 7 adds an extra challenge, with 2 simultaneous bosses. This page introduces Guardian Heroes for the SEGA Saturn, stating it's currently 40% complete and aimed for a winter release, supporting up to 6 players simultaneously. The developers mentioned they are still working on showing the main character more prominently. The page emphasizes the game's impressive sprite performance, showcasing diverse graphic patterns with normal attack combos and special finishing moves. It details how to perform combos and special moves using button presses and directional inputs, with Landy being mentioned as an example character. The article also reveals the stage branching system in Guardian Heroes. While the game generally follows a single path, there are branching points that slightly alter the scenario. Stage 3 branches from the Resistance Village of the Forest to either the forest or a currently unknown route. This unknown route further branches in Stage 4, offering a choice between city, bridge, or mountain peak stages. Screenshots preview these locations, including the Kingdom Capital Factory, Resistance Village, Forest, City, Bridge, and Mountain Peak, suggesting varied environments and gameplay experiences depending on the chosen path. The article also notes that each route will feature unique boss characters and events. Guardian Heroes Stage 4 offers 4 branching paths. Stage 4A, the City, features battles against Kingdom Soldier Knights, culminating in a fight with the dual sword-wielding Bulgur. Stage 4B, the Bridge, emphasizes magic use and introduces new monsters, accessible after selecting Hito de Hiko. Giant enemies appear here, making it ideal for levelings. Stage 4C, Mountain, accessed via Resistance Village, presents rocky terrain filled with creatures like goblins. Stage 4D, Mountain Peak, also reached from Resistance Village, showcases ancient ruins, a windy path, and a potential rematch with Bulgur, alongside undead enemies. The text concludes with a separate comic strip. This page delves into the captivating characters of Guardian Heroes, highlighting them as a key aspect of the game's charm. We're introduced to a roster of intriguing personalities, starting with Reinhardt Bulgur, a knightly figure defined by his strong sense of justice and loyalty to the royal family. Next up is Canon G. Gray, the dark magic craftsman, a figure shrouded in mystery and wielding powerful dark magic, seeking to manipulate events behind the scenes. Moving on, we meet Selena Colsey, a determined and skilled warrior. Then there's Lucia Bulgur, described as a carefree princess, in stark contrast to the powerful Macho Golor, a wild and free-spirited warrior living by his own code. We also see Randy M. Green and Edward M. Yoga, described as a comical duo, and Nicole Neal. Zul Papaya is introduced as a mischievous court jester causing chaos. And lastly, the Unedited of the Dead, a skeletal warrior. The page also includes a section where the team leader and character designer share some insights. They mention that initial character designs were based on archetypes, like the hero being a hot-blooded type, and the heroine being a cute type. They aim to create visually striking characters with vibrant colors and silhouettes. The designer reflects on their approach, noting they sometimes worry if their designs are too niche or not popular enough. They express gratitude for feedback from readers and editorial staff, indicating that character design is a process of balancing creative freedom with audience appeal. This page dives into World Advanced Daisen Ryaku Ironfront, a strategy title for SEGA Saturn. It's all about the campaign mode and the branching paths you can take depending on your success in battles. The feature highlights the game's campaign chart system, showcasing how your victories or defeats will lead you to different scenarios. They're focusing on a campaign starting in America, with scenarios like the New Guinea landing operation and the Normandy landing operation being showcased. The article mentions that winning conditions are simple, like increasing your troops. It also touches on the AI, saying that in New Guinea, the enemy will be formidable in defense, especially in forests. For Normandy, they mention historical accuracy, with Rommel's absence, and Hitler's slow reaction. There's a section with developer comments, where they discuss the game's development and design philosophy. They mention focusing on making a detailed strategy game
and the debugging process. They also touch upon the depth of the game mechanics, map edits, and branching paths, leading to varied endings.
This page continues the look into World Advanced Daisenryaku, Iron Front, but this time focusing on playing as the German Empire. It details the branching campaign paths available when playing as Germany, showing a flowchart that highlights how victories and defeats lead to different historical operations. They've spotlighted 3 key scenarios: Operation Barbarossa, the Smolensk capture strategy, and Operation Typhoon. For Barbarossa, they emphasize the historical surprise attack and recommend utilizing artillery and air power effectively while playing cautiously. The Smolensk scenario is described as a large-scale tank battle against significant Soviet forces, advising players to concentrate their troops to achieve breakthroughs. Lastly, Operation Typhoon, aiming for Moscow, is noted for its challenging winter conditions, supply issues, and strong Soviet resistance, suggesting a more deliberate and cautious advance. There's also a checkpoint section titled, "Let's Look at Small Countries Too," which is interesting. It points out that the game features units from smaller nations as well, showcasing the depth of detail and representing various countries' forces. They specifically mention Italian units and even show a French S-35 tank in German service, highlighting the game's historical accuracy and variety. This guide explores the Japanese campaign in World Advanced Daisenryaku, Iron Front, outlining its branching narrative based on battle outcomes. The flowchart visualizes the campaign's path, starting from the Nomonhan incident and progressing through key Pacific War battles like Pearl Harbor, Malaya, Java, and Midway. Victory or defeat in these battles determines the subsequent scenarios. 4 specific scenarios are highlighted. The Malaya campaign focuses on capturing Singapore against a strong British defense. The Port Moresby campaign aims to cut supply lines with a pivotal carrier battle. The Midway operation strategy challenges players to destroy American carriers, a historically difficult task for Japan. Finally, a hypothetical Hawaii operation strategy, triggered by a successful Midway outcome, presents a major invasion. Each scenario includes historical context, strategic challenges, and in-game screenshots. This overview highlights powerful units from Japan, Germany, and America in World Advanced Daisenryaku, Iron Front. Japanese forces are represented by the Nimble Zero fighter, crucial in early victories due to pilot skill and maneuverability, the Type 99 dive bomber, a key carrier-based attacker, and the Type 97 Chiha medium tank, a mainstay throughout the war. The battleship Yamato, the largest ever built, is portrayed as nearly invincible on the sea. German forces include the Messerschmitt Bf-109F, a prolific fighter, and the Junkers Ju-87R Stuka dive bomber, instrumental in blitzkrieg tactics. The Panzer II IG tank, effective against softer targets, became secondary to the Panzer IV later in the war. World Advanced Daisenryaku, Iron Front features a variety of powerful units. The Type 4 tank E-Type, an improved Japanese main battle tank, is recommended for production over its predecessor. The American Hellcat fighter excels in both air combat and bombing. The German Scharnhorst battleship is a powerful support warship. The versatile Mustang fighter is ideal for intercepting bombers and ground attacks. The B-17 Flying Fortress offers exceptional bombing capabilities, while the Pershing tank is a heavy, powerful tank for countering German armor. The Sherman tank offers different variants for varied combat roles. The Essex-class aircraft carrier provides superior aircraft capacity and control. The game's campaign aims to provide a deeper understanding of World War II through historical context, map movements, and geographical features. This page is about Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner. Development is progressing steadily for this title, which aims for a year-end release. The game screenshots are nearing completion, and the in-game text and graphics are shown as overlapping in a distinct style. This preview shows the game's interface and atmosphere, emphasizing the depth and density of the world players can explore. This time, the entire map is revealed, showcasing areas like Asahi Ward, Blue Sea Park, Yaba District, Koshihara, and Central Ward. The main character lives in an ordinary residence, different from previous Shin Megami Tensei titles, which had 2D maps and 3D dungeons. This game combines both. The map is divided into 6 districts for exploration.
Players can freely name locations on the map, adding a sense of personalization to the game world. The page highlights unusual facilities in the game, moving away from typical series tropes. These include a boxing gym, where the protagonist can train, a doctor's office for medical services, a fortune teller for cryptic advice, and a pawn shop for buying and selling items. These locations offer unique interactions and services, enriching the Devil Summoner's experience. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner introduces 4 new demons. Gokuku, a fire-breathing monkey. Hayakume Oni, a multi-eyed, light-sensitive demon. Waxwork, a Marilyn Monroe-esque zombie. And Macabre, a skeletal death god. Developers Okada Kuji and Kaneko Kazuma discuss the game's progress, highlighting smooth monster and scenario development. They aim for an intuitive growth system and around 30 demon types. Graphics will have an illustration-like style, focusing on impactful battle scenes and updated 2D field graphics. The office setting will be ordinary and grounded. The game features a summoner's action hub, the protagonist's office in a busy district, serving as a base for accepting requests and solving demon-related mysteries. The developers express excitement and commitment to a fun player experience. This page introduces Quo Vadis, a strategy simulation game that the reviewer describes as surpassing typical SLGS. The game boasts detailed character design, animation, and sound, featuring popular voice actors. Developers have deeply researched simulation aspects, aiming for a sophisticated experience. The page highlights the dramatic story, set against a backdrop of human conflict and military nations in the year 1728 of the space calendar, a time when war is supposedly avoided. However, tensions between nations are escalating. The narrative involves elite officer candidates from various nations, initially aiming for an ideal unified army, but facing complex national interests. Gameplay is structured into intermission, movement map, and intense simultaneous battles. In intermission, players organize units and set strategies. The movement map is turn-based, leading to real-time battle scenes, where both allies and enemies move and fight simultaneously. This is emphasized as a key feature, adding depth and tension to combat. The game is shown to be 70% complete and aiming for a fall release. It mentions graphics and voice being impressive, and the game being playable with a mouse. This page introduces Okan's Okaki Logic, described as a digital puzzle game in the popular Hebe series. It's highlighted as a thinking-based puzzle, different from previous Hebe games. The reviewer explains it's a picture logic puzzle, similar to Puzzler, where you fill in squares to reveal pixel art. They mention it's a new type of puzzle and enjoyable for the graphics and drawing aspect, noting it's supervised by the original Puzzler team. The page breaks down the rules of logic puzzles using examples, explaining that the numbers next to the grid indicate how many consecutive squares need to be filled in each row and column. There are various game modes, including Story Mode, where you can use special attacks and recovery slots, Edit Mode for creating your own puzzles, and Battle Mode, where the aim is to create and fill in many squares to win against opponents. The developer's comment mentions it's a puzzle game that requires some thought, and it will have a Hebe-like presentation. The game was 60% complete at the time of writing, and planned for release in November, priced at 4,900 yen. It's categorized as a puzzle genre game, and supports 2-player battles. Someone is quoted saying it's similar to other games they enjoy, and the original Puzzler is mentioned as a point of reference. This guide focuses on boss battles in the game layer section, Ray Force, emphasizing the importance of the lock-on laser for high scores and efficient enemy takedowns. Strategies are provided for 6 bosses across different areas. Key tactics include targeting specific weak points, the arms and main body of Duelance, Area 1, the core of Girasol, Area 2, after destroying outer layers, Giga's core, Area 3, using a combination of shots, GPM's feet, Area 4, after it stops, Odin's weak point, Area 5, after removing laser armor, and the front face of Dynamo, Area 6, after destroying destructible parts. The developer highlights a rich 3D environment, a new attack system, and strategic gameplay based on the lock-on laser, offering a replayable and exciting gaming experience. This page is all about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game Darius Gaiden, which is subtitled Silverhawks further advance. It's reported to be about 50% complete and aiming for a December release. The article boasts that the game is nearing completion up to the warp zones and looks close to being ready. The article highlights zones D through J, showing off various bosses players will encounter. We see screenshots and descriptions for bosses like Fertillion Fan, which unleashes lasers in a fan shape, Electric Fan that looks menacing and paralyzes, Neon Light Illusion, which is described as an illusionary being with laser attacks, and Brick Ryangler, which is heavily armored. Lastly, Brick Ryangler is mentioned as having many fins and difficult to destroy, and Colony, which appears inside a colony, plus a boss fight over a space colony. The developer mentions that Darius is known for releasing many series in arcades, and they are aiming for a complete arcade port for the Sega Saturn, including 2-player mode, and promises spectacular explosions and black hole bomber attacks. This page introduces Treasure Hunter Lime Perfect Collection for the Sega Saturn, and it's described as being very anime-like and full of laughs. They say it's so much like anime that it's funny, with a light and upbeat tempo. The game seems to be a compilation of episodes 5 through 8 of the anime series. It also highlights the characters around Lime, including W. Pegasus, who is described as a narcissist angel who is after the magic jewels and is obsessed with power, and Kokona, who is Lime's younger sister and seems to be a bit mischievous but not really affected by the strange events. The previously on section recaps the story so far, mentioning the magic jewels that are symbols of friendship between the demon and human worlds being scattered by Pegasus. Lime and her friends are on a quest to retrieve them, transforming into human forms to collect these jewels. There's also a BGV mode, which allows players to rewatch their favorite scenes after clearing the game, with adjustable chapter selection. Finally, they point out something that's Crumesque, showcasing what looks like in-game commercials or promotional videos, maybe referring to Treasure Hunter Lime I Am Sorcery as a game title itself.
It seems like they're impressed with the quality of these in-game CMS, highlighting some of the funny and charming scenes.
Episodes 5 to 8 of Treasure Hunter Lime Perfect Collection are summarized. Episode 5 features a wish-granting yokai at a cafe. Episode 6 sees Lime dealing with a yellow owl yokai at a cosplay event. Episode 7 involves a sorrowful yokai doll in a department store at night. Episode 8 shows a pool battle between Barth and Pegasus over a magic jewel. A giveaway offers 10 signed Spell Delphin autographs. Entries require a postcard to SATURN Magazine. The page hints at more to come, with the author looking forward to future installments, suggesting the story isn't over despite Lime's introduction. Metal Fighter Miku, a Sega Saturn game nearing release, is a wrestling-themed adventure game where player parameters evolve through training. The game aims to capture the anime's atmosphere, enjoyable even without prior knowledge, but enhanced by watching the show. Players follow Miku, a wrestling hopeful obsessed with Aquamarine, striving to win the unified champion belt.
The game features adventure, metal fights, and training modes.
Adventure mode features branching storylines. Metal fight mode offers real-time command battles with clean visuals. And training mode boosts character stats. Initial stats are low, with significant growth achievable through training. Developed by Victor Entertainment, the game is 85% complete, scheduled for a September 29th release at 6,800 yen. It's a single-player ADV game, and the reviewer recommends watching the anime for a richer experience. Screenshots showcase battles, dialogue, training menus, and character art. This page reveals detailed data on the Metal Fighter characters in Metal Fighter Miku as the story progresses to its third chapter. It showcases 5 main fighters: Pretty Nana, Pretty Sayaka, Pretty Ginkgo, Mad Kong, and Cutie Candy. Each fighter has listed parameters like stamina, spirit, tension, and defense, giving players an idea of their strengths. Pretty Nana is described as using cunning tactics, while Pretty Sayaka is a leader type who focuses on balanced fighting patterns. Pretty Ginkgo is portrayed as hot-blooded and honorable, preferring aggressive fights. Mad Kong is a powerful fighter with devastating single blows, making him very dangerous. Cutie Candy is presented as an unpredictable fighter, with high stats across the board, using tricky moves. The page also hints at a tournament in the game, mentioning tough metal fighters, and introducing characters like Sapphire, Fighter, Momoko, and Despair as opponents players will face. The developers add a message at the bottom, expressing their enthusiasm for creating a visual and engaging battle experience in the game, emphasizing the compelling story and immersive gameplay they are aiming for. This page showcases King of Boxing and boldly announces the arrival of polygon female boxers in the game. The game emphasizes creating your own original boxer with a motion control system to make movements realistic and dynamic, like dancing butterflies and sharp jabs. You can enjoy various modes like versus mode for intense matches with friends and training mode. The game uses polygon graphics that allow for free camera angles for viewing the action. A big feature is the boxer make mode, where you can create not only male but also female boxers. You can customize your boxer's face, body, style, and parameters like speed, power, and stamina to create your ideal fighter. The game promises diverse and unique boxers will appear in the main event, with around 30 world-ranked fighters across different weight classes. It highlights two boxing styles, the Hitman style, which is a long-reach style, and Peekaboo style, which is a defensive style made famous by Mike Tyson. The developers mentioned that they aimed for smooth polygon movement and encourage players to create and battle with their own boxers or friends' creations, promising a different kind of fun beyond just playing alone. They're aiming for a boxing game that's enjoyable from various angles and perspectives, urging players to look forward to it. The game is 85% complete and boasts CD quality sound. Nobunaga's Ambition, Tenka Susei, for the SEGA Saturn, is approaching release, featuring strategic gameplay through military core commands and castle commands. This article focuses on the military core commands. The game offers 8 key military core commands: personnel, rewards and recruitment, military core, core organization, diplomacy, alliances and relationships even through marriage, war, battle preparation and deployment, education, officer training, material resources, resource trading, strategy, undermining enemies, and appraisals decision, setting core strategies. These commands focus on strengthening military power through personnel management, strategic alliances, training, resource control, and tactical maneuvers. The developers also highlight the ending scene where Nobunaga performs the Atsumori dance, encouraging players to join in the celebration. This page introduces King the Spirits, a new racing game coming to SEGA Saturn, emphasizing its thrilling, winding courses. The game features detailed polygon graphics and promises intense two-player racing. It highlights 3 key course elements: challenging consecutive corners, realistic course undulations like hills and valleys, and varied viewpoints from in-car to chase cam. The game also boasts a versus mode for 2 players, car selection and tuning options for customizing your ride, and a replay function to review your races and improve your skills. In an interview section, Mr. Fujiki, a developer from the second development department, discusses the game's progress. He mentions they are in the final stages, focusing on making the game enjoyable. He talks about balancing the game, ensuring that the course design with its curves and elevation changes presents a good challenge. He highlights the speed and sense of exhilaration, emphasizing the polygon count and processing power used to create the environments. Fujiki explains that tuning is a key element, allowing players to modify normal cars to compete, and suggests experimenting with tuning to match driving style and course conditions for the best performance. Replay features are also mentioned as a way to analyze racing lines from various angles to improve. The interview concludes with Fujiki expressing confidence in the game's quality and encourages players to look forward to its release. Steam Gear Mash is an action game for the SEGA Saturn starring the adorable robot Mash, who is surprisingly powerful. The game features diverse stages: Mega Factory, a platforming challenge with colorful graphics and dragon bosses; Rapid Current Sea, a side-scrolling shooter underwater with whale-like bosses; and Shuttle Base, a return to standard gameplay with numerous enemies, encouraging the use of the powerful fighter weapon. An interview with Mr. Kimura Akihiro, the game's developer, reveals the project's origins in the popularity of cute characters. He aimed to create an engaging action game with shooting elements, appealing to Saturn players. Kimura emphasizes the fun and gimmicks incorporated into enemy and boss designs, and mentions a demo showcasing the game's story. This page is all about FIDA, the Emblem of Justice remake for the SEGA Saturn, a simulation RPG with a mature storyline. They're really pushing the high-quality graphics and deep scenario, emphasizing it's aiming to be a core title for gamers. Apparently, they've completely redone the opening and are adding demo scenes during the story to make it more engaging, addressing criticisms from the Super Famicom version about the story being hard to follow and the processing speed. The article highlights the character design by Tamaki Mihisa, known for their unique and detailed style, similar to what you see in Shining Force. They are emphasizing the mature and sophisticated art style, which they say is a fresh look compared to recent games. There's talk of 2 new characters debuting in the remake, Berserk and Bulber. We get images of Brian Stelbart and a fine McDougal too, who are described as the 2 main characters leading the troupe. It mentions there are over 20 unique characters in total, including characters like Dan, Elle, and Sonia, showcasing a bunch of them at the bottom. Overall, it seems like they are really trying to make this remake a definitive version of FIDA. This page continues talking about FIDA, the Emblem of Justice remake, detailing the game's scenario progression. It explains how you'll move around area maps, enter towns to gather info and trigger events, and eventually clash with the Imperial Army, which leads you into battle maps. Each battle map has specific conditions you'll need to meet to clear them. The game boasts a cast of around 20 voice actors for this remake, and it's mentioned that Brian is voiced by someone actually named Brian. There's a group photo of the voice cast here too. Combat in FIDA is described as strategic, transitioning to dedicated battle maps when you engage enemies on the area map. It emphasizes using diverse special moves and magic in these battles. Warrior-type characters are shown to be good for direct attacks, while magic users are better for support and defensive strategies. You'll need to think tactically in battles, considering character types and positioning. Finally, there's a section hyping up the Saturn version's opening animation as a real highlight. It shows screenshots from the opening, featuring Brian and Aine making a daring escape. They say it's a must-see and really enhances the experience. The bottom message from Yanoman says this autumn will see the power-up of FIDA, emphasizing the redesigned battle scenes, full voice acting, and various remakes made. They're confident you'll enjoy this evolved world of FIDA and are looking forward to you playing it. Quantum Gate 1, a sci-fi adventure set in 2057 Earth, plunges players into a world ravaged by environmental collapse. The key to survival lies on planet AJ 3905, a source of acid iridium needed to restore Earth's atmosphere. Players assume the role of Dreyer, a medical school graduate sent to AJ 3905, initially unaware of their mission. The game features a VR training mode led by Saunders, using radar to navigate and interact with insect-like creatures, promoting stealth over combat. Key characters include Dreyer, his deceased fiancée Jenny, Dr. Marcus, the Quantum Gate creator, and several military figures. The core of the game revolves around the mysterious Quantum Gate, an instantaneous transfer device. The player's objective and the device's true functionality on AJ 3905 are shrouded in secrecy, promising a suspenseful narrative. This page delves deeper into the world of Quantum Gate 1, highlighting the restricted areas within the forward base and creating a spy-like atmosphere. It's structured around several sections, starting with an overview of the front base and its various off-limits areas like the research lab, clinic, canteen, and the Quantum Gate itself. The article then moves into Dreyer's diary, offering glimpses into the protagonist's personal thoughts and feelings while stationed at this mysterious base. There's a section focusing on the 3-layer structure of the base, emphasizing its complexity and the many mysteries it holds, showcasing level maps to illustrate this point. A key part of the page poses the question, mystery deepens, who to believe, which delves into the narrative's core suspense. It hints at distrust amongst characters, mentioning an incident where Dr. Marcus's research team was attacked, leading to his disappearance and questionable deaths. The article also touches on the unreliability of the VR system and the need for caution. Finally, the page guides players through the Militerm interface, which acts as the game's central system for accessing various functions. This interface allows players to access CATV, listen to background music, view spectrostrome projections, and check mail. The article essentially maps out the core elements of Quantum Gate 1, emphasizing its atmosphere of intrigue and the player's role in unraveling the base's secrets. Blue Chicago Blues is an adventure game where understanding time and game mechanics is crucial to solving mysteries. Time flows dynamically based on your actions. Events are time-sensitive, requiring careful planning. During interrogations, choose questions wisely and manage your mood. Showing victim photos can be beneficial. The police station computer offers access to profiles, evidence, and case information. Properly register and present evidence for it to be useful. Incomplete investigations can lead to a game over, with the player's character being killed. Carefully consider actions and commands to avoid this. The game also features Japanese voice acting, with a Blue Chicago Blues extra file, offering a look at the voice actors. This page continues the coverage of Blue Chicago Blues and acts as a digest of the first half of the game's film, focusing on JB's actions from November 10th to 12th. On November 10th, Catherine White's body is found in Chicago's Liberty Town. JB, a homicide detective, arrives in Chicago in the afternoon and meets with his partner, Ted Rawson. They prepare for a full-scale investigation starting the next day, with a 4-day time limit and no unnecessary actions allowed. November 11th marks the start of the real investigation. The day begins with summarizing the situation around Angie Harper, the high school girl found dead initially. JB walks around Chicago to investigate Angie's movements on November 9th and notices inconsistencies in Catherine's alibi. The connection between Catherine and Angie becomes a point of interest. November 12th shifts focus to Bryce Rich, the president of an apparel company. JB investigates Rich and Rawson further. The investigation reveals unexpected connections between past murder cases and the current one, making the situation more complex. The page highlights the discovery of Angie's father, James Harper, and mentions analyzing Angie's diary and Cindy's testimony to uncover the truth. There's also a focus on Rich's alibi being questionable, and Cindy cooperating with the investigation at a bar. The page also hints at a critical moment when JB confronts a woman, asking, "Are you stopping a woman too, JB?" and shows a scene of a model's room as a potential alibi for Rich. This page showcases the upcoming game Arena, tentative title, billing it as a monster RPG. It seems to be in early development with a 10% completion rate. The page highlights enemy monsters you'll encounter, stating they will be familiar to PC players and fit the atmosphere of classic hardcore RPGs like Wizardry and Dungeon Master. We get a glimpse at several monsters. Vampire, described as using dark magic and having strong attack power. Homunculus, utilizing electric shock magic. Zombie, known for its dirty curse attacks and being difficult to kill. Hellhound, launching fire magic. Medusa, a high-level threat with powerful weapons and difficult to defeat. Stone Golem, a massive rock giant resistant to physical attacks, best fought at range. And Iron Golem, a magically created entity with strong magic resistance. There's an interview with Samsung Good, the development lead for Arena. They explain the move to the Saturn is because of the superior specs and expression capabilities compared to home Sacs. Also mentioning a possible PlayStation version. They are aiming to maximize the Saturn's unique atmosphere while staying true to the original game's feel, even with memory limitations and processing power constraints. Another interview section features Tadashiro from SoftBank, who mentions being a big fan of overseas PC games. He confirms Arena is part of their future Saturn lineup, aiming for titles that are big hits overseas. He hints at more announcements soon and emphasizes their focus on quality titles, including upcoming releases of well-known overseas series. This page is all about the exciting double-pack release of Thunderstorm and Road Blaster for the SEGA Saturn. It's billed as a must-have for fans of classic Laserdisc games. They're highlighting this as a super value 2-disc set, reminding players of the days when these games were arcade and LD Game Center staples about a decade ago. It was expensive to see the endings back then, so this double pack is presented as a great deal. Focusing on the Saturn version of Road Blaster, they mention it will support racing controllers, aiming to recreate that arcade handling feel at home. They've also implemented crash attacks. There's talk of mode switching and visual power-ups like title screens before each stage. Road Blaster is described as a high-tempo, anime-style, interactive movie action game. For Thunderstorm, they're emphasizing recreating the arcade version faithfully on Saturn, including the original smoke and explosion effects, various stage gimmicks, and customizable graphics and sound settings. They mention that sprite characters were removed in other versions but are back for the Saturn release. Thunderstorm is a helicopter-based shooting game. The developer comments that they are working hard to make Thunderstorm and Road Blaster even better than the originals, aiming for 120% quality. They ask if readers are enjoying the anticipation and to look forward to the final release. The games are currently 70% complete and slated for an October release. Golden Axe, the duel for SEGA Saturn, arrives this month, promising arcade-perfect quality as the first STV title. The article highlights the game's impressive visuals and calls it a must-buy. It features a diverse roster: Cane Blade, Gilius Rockhead, Zoma, Green, and Panchos the Nitro. Opposing them are Milan Flare, Doc, Jam, Kill, and Death Adder. Each character boasts unique fighting styles. The Saturn version enhances the experience with difficulty settings, sound tests, and optional stamina recovery through the green sheep. Speed settings offer subtle variations. Developers prioritize the game's tempo, aiming for a Choto to Kanji, good feeling, and emphasize the enjoyment of continuous techniques and the arcade-quality BGM. Wing Arms is an aerial combat game where players battle Avalon forces after a post-World War II invasion. Players pilot one of 7 aircraft, switching between front and rear views for better visibility and missile management. The game features 6 missions with increasing difficulty. Stages include air raids, interception battles, and base defense. Key stages include hit-and-run attacks on a base, Stage 3, defending the aircraft carrier Enterprise, Stage 4, and night dogfights with large bomber formations culminating in a boss battle, Stage 5. Developers focused on capturing the freedom of flight and the thrill of dogfights, recommending the canyon scene in Stage 3. This page is all about a new Formula One game coming to the SEGA Saturn, and it's focused on the legendary Suzuka circuit in Japan. The developers are really emphasizing realism, talking about how they've used polygons to create detailed car models and capture the visual impact of damage and tire wear during races. Strategy is key, it seems, with fuel consumption and tire management playing a big role in your race performance. We get a tour of Suzuka's most famous sections, with screenshots and driving advice for each. They cover the tricky Casio triangle, the hairpin, the spoon curve, and the thrilling 130R, giving players hints on how to tackle each corner effectively. It's like a mini driving school for Suzuka. And it's not just Japan. They've also included the Hockenheim circuit in Germany, suggesting we'll get more tracks than just Suzuka. They're promising multiple camera angles and a full 3D experience to bring these famous circuits to life. At the time of this magazine, the game was still 30% in development. The developer's message encourages players to dive in, experience the realistic world of F1, and really test their driving skills. The next page showcases Hang On G95, a game that promises to bring back the excitement of the classic Hang On series, but this time in full 3D polygons. They highlight it as a revival of the legendary series, emphasizing the enhanced graphics and realistic bike movements. The developers talk about recreating the thrill of bike racing with polygon models that look close to the real thing and offer various camera angles, including rider view and long view. The page dives into the game's features, starting with machine selection, boasting 5 distinct bike types that are all customizable with coloring options to make them your own. Then it moves on to course variety, mentioning that the game features circuits that aren't just simple ovals, but more like real road courses with varying environments. They show off 2 course examples, Mistress Cliff Test and Surf Lagoon Lat, highlighting the different visual styles. Gameplay-wise, they're spotlighting the power slide as a key technique for cornering, explaining how to use the LNR buttons for subtle machine adjustments and deep lean angles. They even call it a power slide attack technique. For game modes, it seems pretty straightforward with time trial, options, and GP race modes. The reviewer suggests that by mastering cornering with speed adjustments and line control, players can fully enjoy the game's bike racing experience. They conclude with the developer's message, who encourage players to master the corners and look forward to the release. This page introduces Breakthrough, a block puzzle game described as being so addictive you'll lose track of time. The tagline is, "What's beyond the wall?" suggesting there's something hidden behind the blocks you're destroying. They mention the Berlin Wall's collapse as the inspiration for the game's presentation, aiming to give players the same excitement. The gameplay is simple. Destroy blocks of 2 or more matching colors. It's described as easy to pick up, but incredibly addictive, where you can mindlessly move the cursor and smash blocks. The core mechanic is simply destroying. The page details several game elements: scoring, a timer that counts down leading to life reduction, block movement, leaderboards, and life hammer, though it questions its usefulness. There are also new blocks and items that scroll down and can be dropped strategically, and a current location feature that displays a map showing your progress. The game offers different background themes to suit your mood. It's playable by 1 or 2 players and is described as highly addictive. There's a section about a promotional campaign in Japan to celebrate the game's release, offering a trip to Germany as a prize. They had a quiz about dancers featured in the Breakthrough advertisement. Prizes included a Break Prize, which is a trip to Germany for 2 pairs of 2 people, and a Through Prize, which is an original Parker jacket for 300 people. This page is all about Tokimeki Mahjong Paradise Koi no Tenpai Beat, a home console original, seemingly adulterated, mahjong game. The page highlights three main characters: Minasu Zukure, voiced by Ayako Takashita; Yayoi Togetsu, voiced by Tomo Saeki; and Ayame Satsuki, voiced by Yuka Imai. The article seems to be an interview preview, discussing movie parts, and focusing on three girls. It mentions a dating mode, where you pick a girl and influence her personality. They emphasize the game isn't just about stripping but also focuses on emotional depth. It also mentions sexy mahjong being a standard feature, but promises continuous fun until the very end. There's a voice check station that lists voice actors, including Tomo Saeki as Yayoi-sensei in Mars, Yuka Imai as Peach, and Ayako Takashita as Minasu for Ribon-chan. It also mentions other voice actors, such as Mayumi Asano as Fuyumi, and Miho Nagahori as Saya for Metal Fighter Miku, emphasizing the star-studded voice cast. The Next Time Forecast section seems to preview the next issue, mentioning the focus will be on 19-year-old female college student Seika Aozuki, who enjoys skiing and playing mahjong. It also mentions 21-year-old office worker Kaori Kamioka, who enjoys discos and is described as a grown-up charm woman. Finally, the initial special present section talks about a first-run press bonus, which is a luxurious booklet featuring illustrations. They also mention cell pictures, original telephone cards, and signed color prints as potential gifts for questionnaire respondents. This page introduces Shogi Matsuri, a shogi, Japanese chess, game planned and developed by Nihon Shogi Renmei and SETA for the Sega Saturn. It's designed to be enjoyable for everyone from beginners to advanced players, with a focus on teaching the fundamentals. The page highlights basic shogi etiquette, like bowing and saying "Wanagai shimasu" before a match, and "Arigatou gozaimashita" afterwards, emphasizing good manners. It also introduces Shogi-chan, the game's mascot character created by the Japan Shogi Association to promote shogi. One section explains handicap shogi, a system where stronger players give weaker players a disadvantage, like removing pieces, to create a more balanced and educational match. It states, this is a great way to learn strategy and improve. Shogi Matsuri boasts various game modes, including Matchroom for normal games, Shogi Dojo to review pro matches, Famous Game Appreciation for analyzing famous games, and Thought Problems, which are shogi puzzles to solve. The game is said to have a strong CPU AI and adjustable difficulty settings, making it suitable for all skill levels. There's even a thought problem feature where the game gives you hints. Overall, the page presents Shogi Matsuri as a comprehensive and fun way to learn and play shogi on the Sega Saturn, with features for both beginners and experienced players. The next page is a complete guide to Sega Saturn software. It seems to be highlighting titles that were popular releases from that summer period. The page features some vibrant anime-style artwork with 5 schoolgirl characters front and center. Looking at the text, it mentions a few games. There's Street Fighter Real Battle on Film, and what looks like Passionate Parent and Child, possibly referring to the Neketsu Oyako series. Graduation 2 Neo Generation is also listed, alongside Magic Knight Ray Earth. Essentially, this page is setting up a guide to some key Sega Saturn games, probably delving into them in more detail on the following pages, judging by the page numbers listed next to each title. It's definitely leaning into the anime and fighting game genres, which were really popular at the time on the Saturn. This page focuses on providing gameplay tips for the Sega Saturn game Street Fighter, the movie, specifically for the character Captain Sawada. It's presented as a Master of Captain Sawada's Way guide, aiming to help players become stronger with him. The page highlights Sawada's strengths and weaknesses, noting he might not be the most powerful character, but he has his advantages if played strategically. It details his special moves, including 100-killing falling tree cutter, desperate explosive bombardment, Sawada Special 95, and Rage God Mysterious Concealment, providing command inputs for each. It also describes his normal techniques. The guide emphasizes utilizing Sawada's special moves effectively in combat, focusing on surprise attacks and using his Sawada special as a key technique. It advises players to master anti-air attacks using moves like the Desperate Explosive Bombardment and to be mindful of spacing in fights. The page also suggests utilizing standing strong kicks and the Sawada special in combination. Essentially, this page is a mini-strategy guide within the magazine, offering players practical advice and move lists to improve their skills with Captain Sawada in Street Fighter, the movie, on the SEGA Saturn. This guide for the SEGA Saturn game Nekketsu Oyako focuses on the father and child characters' movesets. It details various Tenjirasu techniques, including the father's close combat attacks like Father Smash, and special moves such as Hammer Prid and Pressure Wave. The guide explains directional inputs for different attacks, jump kicks, and dash attacks. It covers defensive maneuvers, including back rolls using the R button, damage reduction with R, and knife throws. The guide offers insights into hit variations, combo techniques, and character switching. The core aim is to assist players in mastering the game's offensive, defensive, and character change mechanics, acting as a strategy guide for Nekketsu Oyako. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn game, Graduation 2, Neo Generation. It dives into the subtle relationship dynamics between teachers and students within the game, saying the game emphasizes a teacher-raising aspect. They highlight that the student's parameters are influenced by the teacher, and they are breaking down how to understand these points. There are sections detailing how to improve your compatibility with students based on the teacher's star sign or astrological sign, providing tables showing point values to add to initial parameters based on teacher and student zodiac signs. And another section uses blood types to determine compatibility, again with point values. They also use kotowaza, or Japanese proverbs, to measure compatibility, giving points based on student and teacher combinations related to proverbs. There's a section on parameter up-down, explaining that playing the game a bit will improve stats like intelligence and physical ability. They mention focusing on kindness in lessons and rewarding good behavior with items like praise books and perfume. Conversely, being too strict can lower stats. They also briefly touch upon the difficulty of exams in the game, showing a screenshot of an in-game exam setting. Finally, they discuss invisible parameters that aren't directly shown, hinting at things like atmosphere and romance, which influence the game's ending. This page explores student management in Graduation 2, focusing on how to handle students experiencing negative conditions like unhappiness or stress. The key is communication, advising players to listen to student worries to improve their parameters and address issues like family matters and overwork. It also details 6 special events, such as Valentine's Day and Christmas, which players must trigger by meeting specific conditions. A hidden Omake riddle offers a bonus challenge, hinting at secrets related to the visual select feature and achieving the perfect teacher title. Finally, the page introduces a teacher classification system based on player performance, ranging from perfect to erotic and human loss teachers. Your actions impact your teacher type, influencing the graduation album and graduation ceremony, suggesting varied endings and gameplay styles. This article reviews the early dungeons of the SEGA Saturn RPG, Magic Knight Ray-Earth, considered the definitive versions. The Silent Forest, the game's first dungeon, involves navigating using light, solving arrow puzzles, and jumping across a broken bridge. Players should prepare for the Eterna Spring, which features fire arrows and water dragons, requiring strategic use of wind magic. The Invitation Cave presents puzzle challenges with moving boards, and culminates in a boss battle against Rukino. The article highlights the rumored picture diary system, unique to the Saturn version. This system automatically updates diaries, reflecting the perspectives of the 3 main characters. These diary entries, showcasing Hikaru, Umi, and Fu's thoughts, are a key feature with a total of 10 entries throughout the game. This page continues the guide for Magic Knight Ray-Earth, focusing on different areas and gameplay tips. It introduces Sarah and Cultus, describing Sarah as a kind girl who loves animals, and Cultus as a young man who was saved by Sarah and developed a crush on her. There's a section about a peculiar, colorful building that's encountered in the game, suggesting it might be a shop or a place to obtain items. Moving on, the guide talks about a sea area near Tafuron, where players will navigate whirlpools to progress and find an item that increases MP or magic points. Next is the Eternal Ice Cave, described as a dungeon where enemies aren't too strong but require strategic long-range attacks. It warns about ice pillar traps and mentions that fire magic is effective against them. Celise is said to be imprisoned within this ice cave. A section titled Sarah is Scolded details a boss battle against an enemy called Muni in the Sky. The strategy is to use magic attacks first, followed by arrow attacks. The guide mentions a battlefield area and promises a visual scene after defeating this boss. Finally, the adventure after that teases the continued journey, mentioning rescuing Celise and facing a powerful demon lord in the ocean depths, hinting at more adventures and challenges to come. The Saturn version of Lunar, the Silver Star, dubbed Lunar Express, is a significant upgrade over the Mega CD original. It boasts enhanced graphics with richer colors, detailed expressions, and reworked movement and battle systems for a smoother gameplay experience. The Saturn port features improved visuals in villages, fields, and dungeons, along with tweaks to enemy encounters and walking speeds. The game's setting is established with the peaceful village of Berg, the annual Goddess Alina festival, and protagonist Alex, who dreams of adventure and is encouraged to explore the White Dragon Cave. The development team, including Mr. Miyaji from Game Arts, fostered a collaborative environment while working on the enhanced Saturn port. This page presents concept art by Sato Atsushi for the Saturn version of Lunar, the Silver Star, showcasing the White Dragon and fantastical landscapes. The art emphasizes scale, beauty, and a slightly fearsome appearance. The page also features a Media Blitz interview with Japan Art Media developers. Representative Director Takahashi Mitsuru highlights improved graphics and a different feel from the Mega CD version, stating, "Development is 40% complete." Chief Programmer Enchio Masaki discusses adapting the Mega CD version and reworking RPG elements. Chief Designer Kamitani Junichiro emphasizes graphical improvements, including an expanded color palette and detailed backgrounds to create a solid visual experience, implying it's a post-Lunar 2 product. The developers are also considering trap ideas for gameplay. This page reveals Sega's latest arcade game, SEGA Manx TT, running on the Model 2 board. It's being touted as a new sensation bodyfield bike race and is coming soon. The article emphasizes its realistic CG graphics, aiming for an immersive experience unlike anything before. They are also highlighting the 8-player battles. There's an interview with Koichi Sugiyama, the producer from AIM3 R&D, who previously worked on Sega Rally. He discusses the game concept, aiming to create a truly body sensation game. He mentions how they are focusing on realism, even sampling real engine sounds, and using them in the game. Sugiyama talks about location scouting in the Isle of Man for the TT racecourse, taking thousands of photos to capture the atmosphere and detail for the game's environments and track design. He mentions that they want to recreate the feeling of riding a real motorcycle, focusing on realistic rider animations and polygon counts to achieve this level of detail. Apparently, they are striving for a truly real experience in the arcade. The game is set to be shown at the upcoming JAMA show. 2 new arcade titles are coming. Funky Head Boxers for the STV board, releasing in October, is a polygon fighting game focusing on realistic character models and exaggerated, dynamically changing facial expressions dubbed the Bohyan system. Faces comically distort when hit. Developer AM3's Yoshio Akata, who was inspired by CG expressions, is confident in its success based on positive JAMA show feedback. A FMW wrestling video cassette will be given away as a bonus. Cybertroopers Virtual On for the Model 2 board is a robot action game featuring 8 unique robots battling in diverse fields, with intense close-quarters combat and a live broadcast feel. Originally titled M's the Battle, it generated excitement at JAMA. The game emphasizes unique robot styles and combat roles. This page announces Sandorul as the latest in the puzzle and action series, following Taunter and Ichidanter. It's touted as a 3D puzzle action game built on the STV board, expected in arcades in October. The article highlights the enhanced 3D graphics, with characters now rendered in polygons, giving them a more vibrant and dynamic look. The gameplay focuses on puzzle solving with a comical element, where players manipulate objects in a 3D space. The page also features an interview with Sega developers from AM1, discussing the move to 3D graphics for Sandorul. They mention that while Sega is embracing 3D, they believe 2D games still have a unique appeal, especially for puzzle games, but are now pushing to incorporate 3D elements to enhance the visual presentation and gameplay experience. They explain that the puzzles are designed to be intuitive in 3D space, allowing players to rotate and manipulate objects, giving a new dimension to puzzle solving. There's also a sneak peek at other upcoming Sega titles listed for the JAMA show. These include Sky Target, a 3D shooting game from the Wing War team, Virtua Cop 2, the sequel to the popular light gun shooter, a new CG title, Sega Manx TT, likely referring to Manx TT Superbike, Cyber Troopers Virtualon, and Funky Head Boxers. JAMA show is hyped as Sega's biggest ever,
promising a huge lineup of games and excitement.
It's clear Sega is pushing forward with both 2D and 3D titles, aiming for a diverse arcade lineup. This page announces the simultaneous release of the Saturn version of Virtua Cop and the dedicated light gun, which is officially named Virtua Gun. It seems like they've been working hard on the Saturn port, and this article focuses on Level 3, which they say was a difficult stage to port, but now it's complete and looking great with polished graphics. Enemy characters are also improved, reacting in a more realistic way.
Good news for multiplayer fans, two-player mode is also finished.
Moving on to the Virtua Gun, it's confirmed to work perfectly, even from 5 meters away, which is great for home use. Interestingly, the American version of the Virtua Gun will be orange, while the Japanese and European versions are black. The designer, Mr. Kishi, from Sega, explains that the Virtua Gun was created to be a proper light gun for home consoles based on customer feedback. He mentions they focused on making it feel like a real arcade experience and designed it to match the image of the Virtua Cop software itself.
This page is all about Virtua Cop on the Sega Saturn, and it's looking fantastic.
They're currently working on porting Stage 2, and the developers are showing off how much better the textures are compared to the arcade version, making it look really realistic. Even the hit marks are cleaner and clearer on the Saturn. The interview section reveals they're finally starting to add original elements to the Saturn version, including both an arcade mode and a training mode. They're also planning a new opening demo and new music, although the background music will mostly be based on the arcade game. The big scoop is the reveal of the Saturn version's original training mode. This shooting training mode, like a shooting range, is confirmed, and they think it will be a really enjoyable mode to play. It seems to be designed to let you practice your sharpshooting skills. There's even a screenshot showing a result table from the training mode. More details are promised in the next issue, so stay tuned.
Virtua Cop 2's arcade version is nearing completion, with a heavily anticipated Saturn port in development. The game aims for enhanced speed compared to its predecessor. Stage 2, set on a luxury liner, is highlighted, showcasing varied environments like the bar and kitchen, alongside civilians and hostages. Stage 3, the final battle, takes place in a subway. An interview with designer Hiroaki Matsuura reveals the game is 90% complete, with a finished version planned for the JAMA show. Stage 2 was previewed earlier, both inside and outside the ship. Stage 3, the train level, presented a challenge to make exciting due to its confined space, which was overcome. The team is focused on improving sound effects and overall speed to deliver a more evolved Virtua Cop experience. This page celebrates the success of the Dancing Shadows Virtua Fighter 2 vocal album, which reached 26th place on the Oricon charts. It announces the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series for release on October 13th, showcasing character portraits of Akira, Sarah, Jackie, Cage, and Pei. Developers discussed the CG series aiming for high 704 by 480 resolution and story-focused scenes, with 10 to 15 initial CGS planned, tailoring styles for male and female characters, and hinting at VF3 future content. The CG Portrait series costs 1,280 yen, and buying 5 CDs offers a bonus disc and lottery entry. CG screenshots of Jackie Bryant by a pool with a red car and Sarah Bryant performing a kick are featured, with praise for the detail in Sarah's summer salt kick. This page, titled Virtua Fighter 3 Road to 3, delves into the development of Virtua Fighter 3. It starts by highlighting Virtua Fighter's innovative beginnings as a polygon-based fighting game, aiming to revolutionize the genre and surpass sprite-based games like Street Fighter II. The article mentions that Virtua Fighter's development started around December 1992, after Virtua Racing. The page then details the first public showing of Virtua Fighter 3
in August 1993, including location tests and its appearance at the JAMA show. There's a picture of developers Suzuki and Ida, who are discussing the development process, mentioning challenges and new technologies like motion capture, used to achieve realistic character movements in Virtua Fighter 3. They talk about using polygon technology and the concept of virtual polymorphism. A Player Select 06 screenshot showcases characters like Pei, Sarah, and Jackie, giving a glimpse of the game's character roster. The article teases VF3 latest information on the next page, suggesting this is the first part of a series focusing on the development journey of Virtua Fighter 3. The page also touches upon how the game was initially called Virtua Fighter, evolving into sequels later on. This page announces some exciting news about Virtua Fighter. It's official. A Virtua Fighter anime adaptation is on the way and scheduled to start broadcasting on October 9th. The page has an interview section with Yu Suzuki, head of AM2, discussing the development of Virtua Fighter 3 and the decision to create the anime. Suzuki mentions that the anime has been a long-time goal, and they've overcome hurdles to make it happen. He talks about wanting to appeal to a broad audience, including adults who are already fans of Virtua Fighter. There's also a scoop, teasing new characters for Virtua Fighter 3. Emphasizing the game's completion after a difficult development. It seems the anime's storyline will focus on Akira as the main character, and will feature familiar faces from Virtua Fighter 2 like Pain, Sarah, Lion, and Jeffrey, plus new characters. The anime is being produced by Tokyo Movie Shinsha. Character profiles are presented for Akira, Pai, Sarah, Kagemaru, Lao, Jackie, and Wolf, giving short descriptions of their backgrounds and roles in the anime. For example, Akira is described as seeking enlightenment and embarking on a journey. Pai is Pai Chan, Sarah is related to the Bryant family, and so on. It sounds like the anime will follow a similar storyline to the game, involving tournaments and rivalries. This page delves deeper into the upcoming Virtua Fighter anime and the development of Virtua Fighter 3. The headline humorously highlights the inclusion of a Japanese female character, suggesting a focus on diverse characters. The page features an interview section where Yu Suzuki discusses the design philosophy behind the characters, emphasizing a balance between appealing to core fans and attracting a broader audience. He mentions the thought process for character creation, even referencing how American audiences might perceive Japanese culture through Akira's character. There's a scoop section confirming that the voice actors from the arcade version of Virtua Fighter 2 will be reprising their roles for the anime, maintaining consistency for fans. For example, Miki Shinichiro voices Akira, Yajima Akiko voices Pai, and so on with other key characters. We also get a staff list detailing the production team behind the anime, including the director, art director, character designer, and writers. Character spotlights are given to Jeffrey, Lion, and Shundai, with brief descriptions of their backgrounds and fighting styles. Finally, the page provides broadcast details for the Virtua Fighter anime, stating it will premiere on October 9, 1995, airing every Tuesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. on TV Tokyo and other stations, although times may vary regionally. This page dives into Virtua Striker and reveals a hidden trick to play as the Ultimate Team, FC SEGA. The page acts as a guide, explaining how to unlock this team by entering specific country names, starting with S, E, G, or A, and pressing the start button when selecting your national team. There's an interview with a developer from SEGA AM2, Sanano Minoru, who cheekily admits to creating the hidden FC SEGA team. He mentions they designed the uniforms and faces to be unique, almost as an inside joke among the development team, sneaking it into the final game. He jokes about wanting to call the team 2 but decided against it. He describes FC SEGA as a very strong team in the game, especially in attack, but perhaps with some weaknesses defensively, implying a trade-off for balance. The developer also discusses the game's 60 FPS update, explaining they wanted to bring the arcade experience home and focused on smooth polygon animation and sprite integration for a polished look. Finally, the page highlights SEGA amusement merchandise available in stores, featuring Dancing Shadows, Virtua Fighter t-shirts, and Virtua Fighter Image CG photoacrylic boards. A new item is announced, Virtua Fighter Ice Cream, with collectible cards inside, available from September at amusement centers. This page from AM2 Research Information Bureau discusses the communication editions of Daytona USA and Polygon Junkie, which they are calling Virtua Surf. They delve into technical aspects of game development, touching upon texture mapping and limitations of polygon graphics when it comes to games like Virtua Fighter 2. It seems like they are addressing fan feedback, as there's mention of game balance in titles like Virtua Cop and VF2 in response to players' opinions. The magazine also shines a spotlight on the Saturn Player of the Month, Chihiro Kumagai Daisuke from Chiba Prefecture, recognizing him as a skilled Virtua Fighter player, showcasing his impressive performance and scores specifically for Jackie Bryant. Responding to popular demand, they are releasing posters featuring Jackie and Sarah Bryant from Virtua Fighter 2. There's also a prize giveaway featuring unique merchandise such as prize key holders, Virtua Striker, sports towels, and Dancing Shadows t-shirts. Lastly, they're running a postcard competition where readers can win special t-shirts and get their questions directly answered by the developers at AM2. This SEGA Saturn magazine preview focuses on pre-release game reviews categorized by reviewer groups. The Lady Users group enjoyed King of Fighters 95, score 7. The Game Mania group praised a sports game with full animation, despite long match times and a challenging story mode, score 7. Guest game writers reviewed a game with Dr. T's commentary, liking the rebounding but criticizing the AI and controls, score 6. Mini reviews include television anime Slam Dunk I Love Basketball, score 6.0. A puzzle action game called Breakthrough, score 5.33. A puzzle game, score 6, and a fighting game, score 5. Slam Dunk I Love Basketball was already released on August 11th, while Breakthrough was slated for September 14th. Reviews for various games are presented from different player groups. Layer Section, Raystorm, received positive feedback for its gameplay and graphics, with scores ranging from 8 to 10. The Lady Users and guest writers enjoyed the visuals and two-player mode. High Rollers considered it a must-buy. Shogi no Hoshi, a Japanese chess game, was reviewed as approachable for beginners by the True Beginner group, score of 8, while the Data-Rich Pickers group appreciated its data features, score of 6. The Strategic Chess Game group found it suitable for all skill levels, score of 6. World Advanced Daisenryaku, Iron Storm of Steel, was highly praised for its graphics, scenarios, and with the Enjoy Playing Thoroughly group giving it an 8. The Saturn's Best One per Saturn group declared it a top-tier title, awarding a 9. This page features reviews for several games. Starting with Blue Chicago Blues, the women users found it enjoyable for its deduction aspects and kitchen scenes, giving it a 7. High Rollers called it a hard-boiled experience, highlighting the visuals and scenario, and scored it a 6. Guest writers, fans of the J.B. Harold series, considered it a valuable addition, also giving it a 6. Next up is Masters. Haruka Naru Augusta 3, likely known as Masters Augusta internationally. The beginner-friendly, no problem group praised its accessibility for new players and visuals, scoring it a 9. The Anyway Golf Parent is Relieved reviewer appreciated its completeness, volume, and realistic golf experience, giving it an 8. The Gorgeous, Delicate, Gentle Breeze reviewer loved the graphics and overall presentation, scoring it a 7. Moving on to Wing Arms, the Already Tired reviewer found the demo impressive, but challenging and fast-paced, giving it a 5. Target is Invisible Software, compared it to Ace Combat, but criticized the missile lock-on and praised its realistic flight simulation, scoring it a 4. Lastly, WW2 Planes Are Different, focused on the World War II setting, model rendering, and simple gameplay, awarding it a 5. Reviews cover 3 games. Golden Axe. The duel received mixed feedback.
Female users appreciated character individuality but found it orthodox, scoring it a 6.
High Rollers found it challenging, giving it a 7.
Guest writers felt it lacked visual impact but enjoyed it, awarding an 8.
Quantum Gate 1. Akumu no Johen garnered varied opinions. One review found it convoluted for SF fans, giving it a 5. Another enjoyed the B-movie feel and mouse control, scoring a 7. The last review praised its suspense, awarding a 6. Steam Gear Mash was described as cute but potentially harsh. One review praised its visuals, gameplay, and co-op, giving it a 7. Another liked the easy gameplay, awarding a 6. The final review found the puzzle elements subtle, giving it a 6.
The reviews cover 3 games. Mahu no Kishi po po Poemi, Huma Hunter Line Perfect Collection, and Idol Janshi Tsuchiyapai Remix. Mahu no Kishi po po Poemi, a mahjong RPG targeting a female audience, received mixed reviews, citing a long story but repetitive gameplay. Huma Hunter Line Perfect Collection, an anime adventure game, was generally considered decent, with reviewers praising its graphics and digital comic presentation. Idol Janshi Tsuchiyapai Remix, an idol mahjong game, was seen as an improvement over previous entries, with upgraded graphics, voice acting, and polish. While most found it an improvement, some noted a dated feel compared to earlier installments.
This review page covers 4 SEGA Saturn games. Datana Twin Bee Yahoo Deluxe Pack, a perfect arcade port with 2 games, receives mixed scores. 7 from a female user for its cute appeal, 6 for its classic gameplay from High Rollers, and a 9 from guest writers for its high-quality port. Shuttle Mouse Daikatsu Yaku
earns a 6. The reviewer praises its suitability for the SEGA Saturn mouse and balanced difficulty. SimCity 2000 is awarded an 8 for its engaging city-building gameplay and depth, although the graphics and sound are considered only adequate. Another review of SimCity 2000, titled As the PC Version, gives it a 7, criticizing the lack of Saturn-specific enhancements and screen limitations, despite the game's core enjoyment.
Metal Fighter Miku received mixed reviews. Female user gave it a 5, citing a slow-paced story. High Rollers scored a 7, calling it an anime-style process game. Guest writers gave an 8, praising the digital comic and simulation battles. Voice Paradise, a voice data product, garnered a 7 from multiple reviewers, highlighting its niche appeal. It's packed with content for fans but may lack broader appeal due to its lack of gameplay and potential high price. Shinobi Yasha Tenkeki received a high score, with the editorial department review giving it a 90% rating. The reviewer praised its intro, deep gameplay, strategic depth, value for money, and large scale. Finally, the analog mission stick received a perfect 100% rating, with its reviewer praising its high quality and compatibility with 3D games on the Saturn, recommending it as a great accessory. This page is dedicated to the Mega Gear Party for MD and GG users, covering games for Mega Drive, Game Gear, and the 32X. First up is Virtua Fighter for the 32X. The article is excited about its colorful graphics, mentioning the costume colors are vibrant, and that there are 8 characters in total, each with unique colors. Next, they move to the Mega Drive with the Ooze, calling it a cult game. They highlight its unique and somewhat unsettling graphics, emphasizing the tough but rewarding gameplay that will satisfy players seeking a challenge. Lastly, for the Game Gear, it's Sonic Labyrinth, promoted with Spin Attack to Go-Go! It's described as a labyrinth game where spin attacks are key, featuring 4 stages and challenging bosses. The page includes screenshots of each game to illustrate their visuals. This page showcases the Vampire Hunter Characters File video CD data collection for SEGA Saturn. It highlights this video CD as a way to fully enjoy the world of Vampire Hunter, going beyond just playing the arcade game. The page explains that this video CAD is a treasure trove of character information and visual materials for Vampire Hunter fans. It seems to include character profiles, command inputs, special moves, and even ending sequences, presented as high-quality still images. The menu allows you to pick characters and view their data.
There's an interview with representatives from Victor JVC, emphasizing their commitment to video CD on the Saturn. They believe video CD is not just for movies, but has potential for games and software as well, aiming to enhance the experience with high-quality visuals and interactive elements. They mention user feedback about the high quality of still images and the Ver.2's still image mode. They see video CD as a way to offer something beyond just game software and are looking into collaborations between video CD and game formats for the future, mentioning dramatic game introductions and enjoying games after seeing the video CD content. This page spotlights 2 video creds for the SEGA Saturn. Virtua Fighter Special Video CD Edition is a deep dive into Virtua Fighter 2, featuring expert gameplay, developer interviews, and exclusive content. Roxa no Ten Shitachi offers a live performance experience with an interactive menu and zoom function. The page also reveals that game demo movies from shows were available on Video Creds for home viewing. An interview explores Video Credi's potential, highlighting its ability to enhance game experiences with high-quality visuals,
interactivity, and even potential use as in-game textures. Video CDs' quick access and search features are emphasized. Playing video CDs requires the video CD decoder and movie card, mirroring a standard player's performance. The Next Level Secret Technique League reveals cheat codes and unlockables for several games. The 64-bit game has a stage select cheat, pause, then input A, B, A, B circa.
Winning the arcade mode championship in the 16-bit race drive and unlocks new cars. Clockwork Knight allows players to become bosses in stages 1 and 2, using 2 cop controller button combinations during the boss appearance. The 32-bit race drive and unlocks a 3-minute replay mode and other options by pressing L and R at the Time Warner Interactive logo. Readers are encouraged to submit their own secret techniques for various Sega consoles for a chance to win prizes. This page is all about reader gifts from SEGA Saturn Magazine. They're giving away 6 different prizes. First up, 20 lucky readers can win any SEGA Saturn game they want, as long as it was released by October 7, 1995, the deadline for entries. They are also giving away 10 Capcom t-shirts, perfect for summer festival goers. 5 people can win a set of Papercraft models and Virtua Fighter stickers, which the magazine jokes are difficult to understand how to use. 1 lucky person will get a Gunbird decal. For fans of Panzer Dragoon, there are 3 overseas posters up for grabs, and the ultimate prize, for 1 winner, is a complete set of Virtua Fighter 2 character figures, courtesy of Sega AM2, described as perfect for creating your own dioramas. Below the gift section, there's an information blurb mentioning that the summer heat is still going strong, but the Saturn game releases are even hotter. They specifically name-drop titles like Dark Savior, Dragon Force, and Street Fighter Zero as RPGs and action games that are coming soon. The magazine itself is also planning a renewal, and the next issue, the November issue, will be released on October 7th. Finally, at the bottom there's a staff list detailing everyone involved in making the magazine. This page looks like a diary entry titled Sister's Heart, dated September 8th. It's a cute little story about a family going out for dinner, and the younger brother really wanting the upcoming game Virtua Racing for the Sega Saturn. Apparently the brother has been nagging his dad for it. The dad seems to have promised to buy it for him as a birthday present if he gets full marks, 100 points, on his next test. The sister in the diary thinks that's quite demanding. To illustrate the game, there are 3 screenshots from Virtua Racing itself, showing the on-screen action, the starting grid, and the in-car perspective. Right at the bottom of the page, there's a banner confirming it's Virtua Racing for the Saturn, announcing a late 1995 release, and mentioning it's from Sega Time Warner Interactive. This page, titled Brother's Feelings, dated September 8th, is the brother's diary entry, giving his perspective on the situation described in the previous Sister's Heart entry. He writes about going to the department store with his dad and getting a carton, likely of milk as mentioned in the sister's diary. He also mentions wanting more milk and bar curry. He then mentions Virtua Racing, jokingly saying he really hates it. However, it's clear he actually really wants the game. He repeats that his dad will buy it for him if he gets 100 points on a test, which he thinks is unfair, but he decides he's going to try his best anyway. The page also has a childlike crayon drawing of people and racing cars, likely representing himself, his family, and the game Virtua Racing he desires. This page showcases the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series, specifically Volumes 1 and 2 featuring Sarah Bryant and Jackie Bryant. These are crendroms that feature CG portraits of Virtua Fighter characters. Volume 1, Sarah Bryant, includes the track Dancing Shadow, and Volume 2, Jackie Bryant, includes Believe in Love. The page mentions that these crendroms are based on character portraits from Virtua Fighter and are designed by the Virtua Fighter 3 development team. They also include images and vocal tracks from Virtua Fighter 2, such as Dancing Shadows. There's a section announcing upcoming Saturn games, listing Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop, and Sega Rally Championship, emphasizing the excitement around these titles for the Sega Saturn. The page is essentially an advertisement for these character portrait crendroms and highlights the upcoming game releases for the Sega Saturn.